And welcome everyone to Zero Gravity Gaming here with our Platinum Finals. We're Adam on the desk here with Industrial and Sniper, where we've got Aegis Quantum versus SON Leviathan. And just want to say hello to both of you. Start us off here.
Hi there. This is exciting. It's finals, and both these teams have shown, like, in the semifinals and that kind of stuff, just how well they've done so far. And, like, just powering through. It's great to see these, like, two titans in the Plat finals together, like, facing against each other.
Yep. And I'm curious to see what some of your thoughts on these teams are. So, Sniper, coming into this, SON Leviathan as the first seed, they had a little bit of an easier time in the semifinals against against G&E Amethyst, sorry.
Yeah, it was a little bit easier, but still both teams breezing through those playoff matchups. Both teams kind of came into this mildly expected to be at the top there, and lo and behold, at the end of the season, both of them ended up at the top. Looking forward to a very good match between these two teams. Looking forward to see which of them comes out on top in the end here.
And especially with both of these teams, being the number 1 and number 2 seed coming out from Platinum, it's not too much of a surprise to see them here. So Industrial, it's hard to pick a favorite just off the get-go, but if you had to pick a team just off of expectations, who'd you go with?
Probably say Aegis Gaming. I don't know, just something about them, like, I feel like they are going to just be the one to pull out on top. I feel like the one thing about, like, this game and, like, tournaments in general is, like, as long as the team can continue to, like, thoroughly communicate and just, like, no matter what's going on, just not tilt and just keep pushing through, like, they're the team that's gonna win the most games and just overall, like, come out on top. And I can just see Aegis Gaming doing that.
Sniper, do you have any predictions either?
For the sole purpose of being contrary, I'm going to go with Leviathan. Yeah, first seed coming into the tournament, swept everything since then. So they honestly look unstoppable, and Aegis has been very clearly one of the best teams. So if anybody can take a game off of Leviathan, it would be Aegis. But I'm still going with Leviathan in the end there.
So a little bit of a split on the desk here, but both of these teams, of course, getting here by virtue of 3-0 series last week. Of course, Aegis Quantum took a 3-0 series against Aurora Extinction with game 1 really going the distance, and after that, Aurora Extinction sort of fell apart. But then SON Leviathan on the mainstream beating G&E Amethyst 3-0 as well. Just waiting to hear from production about timing on when we can get into game 1. But, we've got ourselves our favorite casters here with Thousand Eyes and Gavino bringing you the cast for today. So I'm excited to toss it over to them if production will tell us anything.
Yes.
And we've got another minute to go, so still a little bit more to talk about. I guess we can talk more about the meta and what we're expecting here. Of course, patch 12.8 is now live. Lots of buffs, a couple of nerfs to key champions. What's sort of the champions that we're looking for? I'll start with you, Industrial.
I'd say one champion I'm looking to see is Swain, honestly, just because, like, his adjustment to, like, no longer being, like, a support champion. I noticed him, like, I had a Swain top lane in one of my games recently, like, and I could just see Swain making an appearance, if you will. Ezreal also recently got a buff, so I would be pretty excited to see him, but I don't know about that one, so we'll see.
And Sniper?
Just a personal preference on my end. I'd love to see a Jhin. There were a couple of small buffs that went towards him. He didn't get much changed, but just because I love playing him, looking forward to it. Not expecting to see quite as high of a priority on Xayah or Jinx right now after they both got nerfed. But looking forward to see what these teams think are the best choices for themselves.
And of course, if I have to throw one in there, it's going to be Silas support because, that's my guy down there. No, I'm not expecting to see it, but, if it happens, I can tell Brennan that I told him so or something like that. But regardless, we'll see what the casters have to think about this series as well as get us into draft for game 1. Here's Thousand Eyes and Gavino.
Hello, welcome everybody to our finals. I am Thousand Eyes. That is Gavin, as has been throughout the entire season, and I am excited to get into the games tonight. How about you, Gavin?
I'm jazzed. Let's go. I'm
Yes.
bringing some hostile energy into this cast. Let's go.
I was, you stopped there, and I was like, I thought you were gonna go more on that.
Nah.
Just like, I'm jazzed.
It's all violence. Let's go.
Jazz and Violence is the name of the night, as the teams have gotten underway in the bans here. What are we looking at here, Gavin? What are we expecting from these teams, and what do you hope to see banned?
I'm hoping to see a lot of really good League of Legends because these are two pretty good teams. As far as picks go, I think we're gonna see Zach banned. He's just pretty good, like super good engaged. I think both of these junglers play a lot of like early game engager jungles, just because that's really strong. That's really what's strong right now, and it enables your really good laners to pop off. If it's cool to get ahead on one jungler, but it's also even cooler to get all 3 lanes ahead, and that's a pro Gavin tip for anybody trying to climb out there.
Win lane, win game, as they
or
like
win
to say.
lanes, and I don't know.
Win everything, win everything. Yeah, well, bans have come through. The Swain has been banned away. I don't think anybody who has played this patch is surprised at all for that, except for maybe the fact that it is a blue side ban, considering how strong that Swain is. If you play it, you want the opportunity to take it, and Aegis are clearly saying here they don't know how to use it.
Or they have something else they prioritize more, that they're more interested in, other than the Swain Kindred. Okay, alright, I like it. I love Kindred. I think she's so good. She scales so well, and honestly her ganks are like a lot better than you'd think they'd be with the dash and the slow from the E. But yeah, just the scaling's pretty nuts. Lee Sin's an interesting pick into it. I'm not a huge fan. I do love Lee Sin, but I do think he falls off pretty hard, especially in the face of someone who can scale so hard like a Kindred. But as long as you put some scaling in some other lanes, it's fine, because you're just an initiator anyway.
Well, I mean, the other thing you could think about here is the Lee Sin has the ability to kick someone out of the Kindred ult, so it does keep them from getting that heal and that safety there. And with an MF, the more people you can get out of that ultimate, the better.
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird pick into a Kindred because, your ult just gets canceled out by Kindred ult because it's just a big AoE. Like, we're going to sit here and not die for a little bit. I do like Xayah. She's very strong right now, just strong at all points in the game. Basically has no weaknesses right now. Pairing it up with Rakan, excellent engage, good safety. That dude will basically never die. So that's pretty fun. But yeah, such a long engage can also like interrupt the Misfortune ult. So looking forward to seeing that. It's going to be... So far, I feel like the difficulty of execution is a little bit more harder on... SON. Yeah. But Alistar kind of shows that up. Like, that's an easy champion to play. You got exactly one thing to do. Press W and then Q.
Yeah, but it works well. It does the job and really is a great initiator for the MF to get her ultimate over top here. Now, I want to keep an eye on what we expect here from this Misfortune, because PTA and Comet have gone back and forth. I've seen players favor one or the other just based on how they like to play. I think Comet has been the predominant one, but still, it's a decision to be made from a player perspective.
Yeah, I do think I like Misfortune as she can be the lethality. I'm gonna pop you with 1Q or a late game, hyper carry with crit scaling. But I also think it's more important to choose based off of who you're playing against. If you're playing against these kind of squishy champions, like, you're going to want to go to the lethality, because A, they can kill you quicker, so you need to kill them just immediately, right off the bat, get your damage off and run away. Lethality itemization tends to help you do that, so I think that's probably the play, as long as they don't pick like a Tom Kench top or like a big beefy boy in the top lane like a Scion or something. As long as there's nothing to punch through really hard, I think lethality is the way to go here. Mordekaiser is an interesting first top pick. So they're saving mid lane, and then Mordekaiser is so easy to counter. I'm not a fan. Speaking of Tom Kench, I love Mordekaiser. Blind picking Mordekaiser though, and there's the Ornn, kind of just the best tank right now. So why would you not pick it?
Mm-hmm. I mean, the big thing here that I was waiting for was GP. GP has been incredibly strong on the last couple of patches, and he can just W out of the Mordekaiser ultimate whenever it is used on him. So it's a pretty solid counter. But if you do want to go for that tank, the Ornn is a solid pickup there. Mordekaiser has received buffs recently. He did get the extra move speed on the passive to give him a little bit more sticking power onto people, as the Anivia is going to be locked in now, giving a very kind of strong late game team fight composition for Aegis as a whole.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. You don't really see that too often. I like it. I don't really know who you pick into Anivia, so it's one of those good ones. Like, yeah, I'm gonna pick this bird, and I don't know, what are you gonna pick into it? A Zed? Haha. Like, I don't know. There's nothing that's gonna like stomp an Anivia out of lane, so it's just a really safe pick. That's like, we're gonna scale and oh, Akali. Okay, that's pretty good.
I was gonna say that's one you should be happy about, right? Gavin,
I do
a known Akali lover.
I am an Akali enjoyer. She's one of my favorite champions. But yeah, I mean, she's like way safer than anyone gives her credit for in lane. As long as you take fleet footwork, you will basically sustain through any ranged matchup, as long as they're not just like walking straight at you, and then you can just kill them. So especially in like a 5v5 you're all income situation, like it's so easy to just like, yo, this Anivia is going to be permanently pushing me, and she does not have any dashes, so it's very easy to kill her. Especially if you get those support roams. So we'll have to see where they're gonna put their focus on, because I like to get the Akali ahead early, obviously, but honestly all three of those lanes on the side of SON are really prime targets for allocating resources towards and then just winning through that lane, because you're not going to win through a fed Lee Sin, so that Lee Sin needs to enable another lane or lanes to win, whereas Aegis kind of have to like wait and they'll be strong. So the onus is really on SON to kind of take the lead early, and so I think we should be seeing some violence in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, SON's comp seems to be one that is prioritizing how do we get one of our teammates ahead and play around them in whatever case that may be. Mordekaiser, Akali, MF, these all have capabilities to be pivoted around as a team player. It's just about getting that Lee Sin, utilizing that, and getting that player ahead and using that. Whereas Aegis, you look at them and it is just all about the late game here. You have the Xayah, which, you know, depending on what build we see from that, because the lethality has been touched up a little bit to be nerfed, the Aegis are really just looking to stay alive as long as possible, and Kindred scaling, Ornn scaling, and Anivia scaling, these are incredibly strong late game champions. It's just, can they get there?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And top lane and bot lane on the side of SON have such good gank setup too, which is an important part. Lee Sin doesn't have any CC built into his kit, so you have to rely on the opponent pushing up, which like Ornn's probably not going to push out that hard, but Anivia definitely is, and Xayah can't because of her feathers. So it's going to be very much on the coordination of the support and the jungler, or the top laner and the jungler, to time their CC and wait for that jungler to come help. Whereas there's not really any gank setup on the side of Aegis. I mean, there is, but like you're not winning that matchup early, so you have no pressure. So we'll have to see. I do anticipate SON being able to come out ahead early. Again, they're first place. They're 2-1 against Aegis this season, so like they're favored, and so they should have the ability to get ahead early and kind of keep that lead ahead. But we'll have to see.
I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit here. What is the break point? What do we need to see a lead at what time period here for SON to feel comfortable going into the next portions of the game? Because, you know, we've labored on it enough, but Aegis will eventually just be a stronger team.
So I think Aegis actually have a lot of pressure in the mid lane, because Anivia will be able to push out Akali every single time. Akali does not have any wave clear pre-level, like I think it's like 9 when she gets max level on her Q and it starts doing well, but that means they should be able to start stacking dragons early, and if you can deny SON stacking dragons early, because they should have pressure through the bot lane, so roughly 20 minutes ish, 15 to 20 minutes, if SON don't take any dragons, or they're not, or it's like 1-2 or 2-1 or something like that, it's gonna be rough going. I think that's gonna be an important part. And then just keep an eye on the heralds. If those start going the way of Aegis, it is not going to go well. I think like 15-ish minutes is gonna we're gonna start to see the balance kind of shift, if it hasn't already.
Absolutely. And obviously we're hoping to see something happen with this Akali. It's gonna be a little bit rough to do against the Anivia specifically, thanks to that egg. Early ganks may prove influential there. But Kindred, what are you hoping that Kindred is going to be doing throughout this early game when you're up against somebody that is as potent as Lee Sin?
So Lee Sin's really strong early, but Kindred is no slouch either, especially if you go press the attacker or something like that. So, I mean, as long as she gets a little bit of help, and she should have help from Anivia, who again can push that lane in really early, should have priority on those scuttle crabs. So look for mid to kind of help out Kindred to get through that slump in the early to mid game, and then from there, it should just kind of blossom.
We are going to take a quick break as we get ready for game 1 of the night, guys. This is a best of 5, Aegis versus SON. Who is going to be our champion? We will start to see who takes the lead just after this break.
Brisk, chilling air is calling, and out there we're free to run and jump and live so wildly. Head first we'll go tumbling through places unknown, with nothing but the stars to light our way. And though the sun may set at night, tomorrow looks so bright, 'cause home is when you're by my side. No matter what we do, together we'll see it through. And I hope that we won't drift apart, even though things change. Without you, it's not the same. I know it's true. Life's better when it's me and you.
And welcome back, everybody. We are into game one. Teams are fanning out. No level 1 shenanigans to be had. As we are just going to see Aegis on our blue side. SON Leviathan on the red. And things will get underway in just a moment.
Nothing too spicy, unfortunately. Although Aegis is making a little, they could do something. Yep.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah, there's the hop over. Just getting some damage down does get the PTA proc and back away. So nothing to be had there, but is a little bit of annoyance that the Lee Sin has to back away and will be a little bit late there to the first camp.
Yeah, though they did get vision onto, SON did get vision onto Aegis' red, so they'll know which side Kindred's going to start on, which makes the whole scuttle dance pretty straightforward. It does look like they're both starting on the top side, so they should meet at the bottom crab, so there might be a little bit of a fight for that. Depends on both if they're going to do in like a full clear to see who's going to get there first or not.
Yeah, marks very important for the Kindred in the early game. We do take a look down bot side. You do see with the Rakanzaya much better level 1, so will force out a little bit of safety from this Alistar MF, but so far, like we said, nothing too crazy going to be happening until these clears have come hit through entirely.
I don't expect too much, like, nobody should really be getting solo killed or losing the 2v2 unless there's jungle pressure, but you never know. I would like to see violence, personally, but it does look like Kindred is going for the full clear, whereas Lee Sin went straight from his red to his wolves. So he is going to be down bot side first, though Nibia is roaming up to get vision, which is smart. Yeah, very smart. I love that. As if you have a Kindred on your team, knowing where the enemy jungler is so much more important than it would otherwise be. And it's always important, but man, it's so nice having a mid laner that'll do that for you when you're playing Kindred.
Yeah, it does give the safety for the Kindred. Also wanted to point out it is not only the Comet on the MF, but also the tier start. So looking to try and play really safe in this early game until they can get a couple more items. We do have a quick pause. We will figure out what has gone wrong and what exactly needs to be fixed and get that underway in just a moment.
I do think we can just go ahead and blame Brennan on that one.
Usually do.
Yeah. In the meantime, I would like to touch on so Zaya has lethal tempo, which is interesting. Yeah, they did say pizza in the chat, which
you know. I mean, okay, Zaya does have the lethal tempo. I know that has been coming back. Like we have said, on-hit Zaya has been a little bit more prioritized after the nerfs to the Q cooldown and the damage, I believe it was, on that. So we will generally see a little bit of lethal tempo. It still could be the lethality, just with the lethal tempo instead of the airy. Kind of,
yeah, it could be
there. I've seen Emax with that as somebody who does do does play with somebody who does play a good bit of Zaya. Supposedly the max has been the E instead of the Q, going from that.
Yeah,
we're gonna get back underway now.
So I do also play a fair bit of Kindred. I do play Kindred, but also Zaya, who I always went the crit hyper carry build. Oh, never mind.
Yep, going in. Jerryman is already engaged. Use that knockup. SSJ Ivern gonna be backing away with the flash. Macro Beast also running off. Doesn't have to burn a summoner just yet. Next Jungle Convict gonna push them away. Overall, a solid gank as DV has frozen the game with the flash. Now it is just the spectator bug, and we are back underway. Summoners burned on the Alistar specifically here.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very early flash from the Kindred, but it does make sense. If Lee Sin gets that takedown, it is going to be rough. And there's a mark on the crab, so going to be fighting. Ooh, good sense.
Yeah, DOV gonna have to back away, needs a little bit of help. And Jerryman, and oh my goodness, yeah. Cosboy gonna also have to flash away. Really solid stuff overall. Just trading down in that bot side and top lane. They're doing what they do best, smacking each other.
Just a bunch of meatballs. Throwing meatballs at each other. That's what meatballs do. You know, like meatballs do?
What?
Yeah.
Can I get a new color caster, guys? We have people on the desk. We can just switch someone in.
Yeah, just sub someone in. He's too focused on meatballs.
Yeah, this dude lives in IKEA, apparently. Saint Alucard now gonna be getting some gankage happening to him, but there is SSJ Ivern in the early roam, level 2, actually. Still forces out a flash, and that's really important on the Anivia.
Yeah, it's a good roam. I absolutely love the decision to send the Alistar up there. You need to put pressure on that Anivia, or she is just going to like never take any damage from the Akali. Akali does not have the tools to get into Anivia's face early without, dying for it. So excellent. We were looking to see some aggression in the early game, trying to get these solo lanes fed, and they are making the attempt. It hasn't borne fruit yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, so far it has been a pretty quiet game. Just summoners being burned. Because we're going to take a quick look at the CS, which has been going over into SON's favor, as we kind of expected with the powerful lanes that they have drafted. Has gained them a 500 gold lead purely through farm, as Macrobeast also going to have to burn the flash on the bot side, not respecting the power of that Rakan engage.
I mean, you respect it, I don't have to flash it. That's pretty good. But yeah, a lot of these guys are a lot of attempted engages and a lot of repeated just no thank you. I do also want to point out that there is a 10 CS lead for Akali over Anivia, which is not something I thought I would say going into this. I think that gank pressure did help her to secure a lead, although I think there's a big
yeah, it's a
there.
big wave coming in.
It should even out a little bit. She'll probably miss a couple under the tower, so it's not for nothing. But still, that is if you're playing Anivia into Akali, you want to be able to pressure her and make her lose CS, and that is the opposite of what's happening.
You say that, but also farming with Anivia pre-6 is not a fun time. She is not known for having the smoothest auto attack animations, and she is not exactly the most fun to deal with in terms of trying to farm, because all of her abilities are either major damage abilities you want to trade with, or you're looking to more try and wait for 6, get that ultimate to push out waves and go from there.
Oh yeah. I mean, so the trade-off with that is she is excellent at poking someone out of lane and making it incredibly dangerous for them to farm. So usually you kind of expect to see both of the CS numbers low, but I mean, the only person who has more farm than Akali is Mordekaiser, so it's not going great.
Level 6 has been dinged by the Anivia. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Dragon will reset a little bit, but SON will be able to claim this one cleanly. First Dragon of the night taken. Hextech is the pickup there, as now ZF going on to DOV. Does not have the ultimate. That is just a dead Kindred getting caught out on the rotation to the bot side. You knew they were at the Dragon, buddy. You gotta respect that one.
Yeah. It's... No one ever expects the Akali to engage from half a screen away, but there she goes, flipping like a ninja. Yeah, so good roam from Akali. It's free gold is never a bad thing. Doesn't have her ult, but I mean, you're not going to kill the Anivia anyway, so no big loss there. But yeah, so just excellent aggression from SON, securing objective early. It's great. It's exactly what you needed to see from them.
Yeah, SON also looking for this bot side here with the Lee Sin ready to go. There is the engage. Ivern tried to bait it out. May have baited a little bit too hard as the Ignite's going to take him down. Jerryman gets that and gets away. He is too nuts with that Rakan.
He could have saved him with the Lee Sin W and he just didn't. That feels bad.
Gotta look for those engages, Gavin.
Yeah, I guess so.
W doesn't do damage to the enemy team.
It gets me closer, so I can kick them to my enemy team.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, but in the meantime, DB.
Even in the game. Why don't all of his abilities just do damage? His W should just be another kick, I think. He's got 2 legs. Why does he only have 1 kick?
Alright, we're gonna move forward from that. DB does take the top side red buff for himself. I would like to get an update on the stack counter for the Kindred there so we can see where she is at.
It is. She doesn't
Hold
have
on,
any.
wait, hold on. Root on the bot side, major turnaround with the bullet time. Ivern's still level 4 at this point. Zadie carries level 7. Ivern has been roaming like mad, but so far it has only resulted in 1 death for himself.
Yeah, so that's a grand whopping 0 stacks on the Kindred so far. Just to keep you updated on that.
Not the greatest. Not what you want to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of expected too, because SON's whole game plan is just be aggressive in the early game and kind of deny the Kindred.
Oh, there it is, the charm from the Rakan. Easy from Casboy to kick the Alistar out of the game, put him back into the fountain and make him think about what he has done. They're going to take Macro Beast down afterwards as well.
Yeah, use the ult to knock up, or ult to cleanse the charm, but then got knocked up, which is, you can't reduce that with the Alistar ult, so unfortunate timing. Got the damage reduction, but like, there's no amount of damage reduction this early in the game that's going to save you from that, so. Very strong champion, Xayah, has a completed Gale Force. This lane is just going to keep going in their favor. That's a 10 CS lead. Wave is going to be pushing back towards them. There is some scaling starting to come through on the side of Aegis, and that is the side we're going to look to see Aegis kind of send their resources towards. Ornn is kind of just doing Ornn things and existing, and then eventually he'll send some money to Xayah, but other than that, the entire top side of the map it's all coming up SON. We got another dragon coming up soon.
That's an Alistar dead again.
Yeah.
Don't
Didn't
even have
use
time
the
to
Gale
talk
Force.
about it.
Yeah, that is a dead cow. So there's another dragon coming up in about a minute.
Top lane is fighting here. Disciple's going to get some damage down to keep the pressure on. That does mean with the dragons spawning soon, there is going to have to be the back, and it's got to be a walk back from Mobility Scooter. He can't TP down to his tower again.
I don't think we're going to see any TPs to this dragon just because it's not 14 minutes yet. So they would have to teleport into mid lane or bot lane, and that's a long walk. And Ornn just burned. They both burned their ults, so they're not even really that much use in a team fight anyway. So I wouldn't worry about them TPing to this dragon, but, you know, I'm only really good at the game.
Just debatable things Gavin is saying here, as Ivern's going to be seeing the Kindred hovering over on the dragon. Both teams really do want to contest for this here, as Quickness is going to come out onto the MF. Macro Beast has to flash away. The Feather Storm goes down onto Dex. Jungle Convict flash away, as that is still going to be the auto attack following through. Casboy gets another kill, and now there is no bullet time, but we're not done yet. Ivern is going in, trying to get that headbutt pulve, but he is a very squishy cow at the moment, and he is not going to want to stay in that fight. That is a phase rush level 5 Alistar. He will not last long in a fight here.
Yeah, this is starting to swing in the side of Aegis, and as soon as that happens, they're going to start running away with it. I mean, Akali has the tools to pop the Xayah, but also Xayah is Xayah and can press R, and that will stop happening. And she's so good at creating space with those feathers too. It's so hard to position into that team fight as an Akali, especially playing into like a Rakan and a Anivia, who are so good at also setting up zones where you're not allowed to exist as an assassin. So it is going to start getting rough. The ability to assassinate that backline is just so dwindling and non-existent at this point, because you are not assassinating an Anivia. That's just not happening. So I think they're going to start looking towards topside to try to pick up some gold from there, but I don't know that it's going to even work, because like even if Mordekaiser gets really fed here, he only ults one person, and then they can just move back from that team fight and put up a wall and tell him not to fight anymore. So I think this is just going to start swinging even harder into Aegis's favor.
Chairman has been caught out. Gonna use the knock-up to try and jump over to his mid laner and get away. But another kind of failed engage for SON as they're still going to stick around here. And Anivia ult's going to go down. There is Mobility Scooter using the Ornhorn, getting the knockups as Disciples over on the other side pulls the Anivia into the Death Realm. Ex-Jungle Convict's going to go down in the meantime. And Jerryman is stuck alone against a bunch of people. Ignite will take him down. Zednev picks up that kill. Mobility Scooter now trying to run away here, but taking out the cow in the meantime. Resurrection not going to come through. St. Alucard goes down. And we have a one fight finally for SON Leviathan.
It was one, but Kindred and Xayah are both farming in the bot lane. They're going to get this tower. That is first tower gold onto the 2 carries for them. So, woo, that is okay. Oof. I think I just would have burned the ult, personally, rather than 2 summoner spells, but, you know, it's okay. Oh, that's unfortunate, because they were winning.
Time hurts.
It does hurt. That also means they're not going to get this tower, and it means Mordekaiser can potentially push in and get their top tower, so they do lose first tower gold off that too. So that is a bit of a throw on the side of SON there. Or sorry, Aegis.
Aegis. Come on, give him some credit here. SON's pulling it back.
Yeah, you were behind and you threw. What the hell? I don't know.
Yeah, SON pulling the gold lead back now, up 200 gold, which is not what you'd like to see. You'd love to be more ahead, but the Akali is now 2-0. Mordekaiser has the Rift Maker and 1-0 against this Ornn with a solid CS lead there as well. So SON at least have a plan. They have something they can work with here going into this mid game.
They do, and I mean both Jung. Oh yeah. Just no thanks.
Punt
no fighting
him.
there. Over the wall you go. I didn't want to play with you anyway. Yeah. I mean, yeah, this is just kind of, there's no dragons up right now. There's no big objective, so we're just kind of see them walking around hollering at each other. Nothing too exciting at the moment, but again, it is starting to swing in the favor of Aegis, even though there's a bit of a gold lead on the side of SON through some good macro play there. Denying the first tower gold was pretty big, honestly, because it would have gone on to Xayah and Kindred, who are the 2 people you need to pop off. But Akali putting in work in these team fights. In that last fight, she was able to get onto Anivia because I believe... It was a big fight. I didn't really pay attention that much.
Okay, Gavin,
we're supposed to be watching these games?
Your job is
What?
literally to pay attention to the game and talk about it. So I'm going to need you to pick it up here a little bit, my guy.
Nah, I'm good. But yeah, I mean, Akali is so mobile that there's so many engage tools on the side of Alistar and Lee Sin and Mordekaiser that they burn all their escapes trying to get away from those big meatballs, and then Akali comes flipping over a wall, and what are you supposed to do to that ninja? She's too pretty.
I don't think that's the thing that stops people from doing things to.
Oh, well, we play very different games then.
Okay, Gavin, we're gonna bonk you, sit you down on the bench, let you think about what you have done.
All I said was she was pretty.
Yeah. Well, Cosboy and Jerryman gonna be pushing through this mid lane, shifting their focus after getting that bot side tower. Dragon gonna be spawning soon, and Ex-Jungle Convict and Macro Beast had the first grab here on the dragon, but have to back away because they do not have the team. Look at Mordekaiser in the top side though.
He is pushing a lot, though it is going to be like, it's only second dragon and it is ocean dragon, so I mean, it's not that big of a loss. It's pretty smart.
No! Oh. Jungle Convict. There's the slow. There's the bullet time. Not going to actually do too much there. Devi going to actually get hit, kick, punt away. Devi now getting the ult down. There's no more crowd control to push him out. Macro Beast is stuck out of the fight, can't get in. And Zednev is going off onto a killing spree. Mordekaiser is TP'd in, going on to the Xayah, getting the Featherstorm down. Cosboy now going to flash away inside the Shadow of Doom, but it is the triple kill for the Akali. 5-0. SON, they started throwing it down a little bit earlier, but they pulled it back together, and they are back on top definitively.
Yeah, that is a strong Akali. This went from 5-1 to 6-6, and that Akali is 5-0 with a 600 gold bounty. Love to see it. But yeah, so this is rough. I mean, so yeah, they obviously have a big gold lead. They're taking objectives. It's only the second dragon, which means Soul isn't even on the table until, what is that, 26 minutes, I think? Oh, here we go.
Yeah, Gavin, we had a replay on.
Oh.
Gotta check those. Well, I'm gonna go down in the process. Gavin and Ivern looking at about the same things right now, I think. Not really paying attention to what's going on around them, and that's fine. We can come back from this. It's cool. We're good.
We will recover, just like SON recovered in this game. I came full circle. I'm so good at this.
Oh my god. Okay. Anyway. Oh, all right. So, Rift Herald starting up here. I don't think they have time to do this. This seems like a little bit of a waste of time from Aegis, but not the end of the world. Blue buff going to be picked up by the Kindred. Can we get an update on the Kindred stack? Can we
She's at 3 stacks. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. You'd like to see it. 4 is
like
the breakpoint.
4 is the breakpoint, and it's every 3 after that, which makes sense from a gameplay perspective. It's very hard to keep track of. Anyway, yeah, I mean, she still doesn't have her mythic item, and we're 20 minutes into the game, and that's a little rough. It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, so again, Ocean Soul isn't really on the table. Oh no,
I'm not even gonna talk about that one. That's just keep going.
That's a fried chicken. Yeah, Akali's at 2 items. That is rough. But yeah, so I mean, Kindred isn't really scaling as hard as you want. A lot of the gold is onto the Xayah, who, with this, she's not going the lethality build, but with the Essence Reaver, just like you do want to ult kind of early to get those feathers out, and it is a big part of your damage in team fights. But that also leaves you super vulnerable to the massive amount of engage on the side of SON, especially from the really fed Kindred, or sorry, really fed Akali. Words are hard. But yeah, so it's gonna be rough because that's your biggest damage threat, and that is also your only escape tool. So
oh no, Jungle Comet gonna get knocked up, tossed over the wall there with the ward hop, but DV just gonna flash over to pick that one up. And I believe that was also a mark, so we have hit the 4 stacks.
That is number 4. So yeah, Kindred full stacks. Let's go.
Did he win a brand new car too?
Yeah.
Okay, so Ivern actually gonna Hex Flash over this wall. They're gonna go on to the Ornn here. I'm not sure about this one. Disciple gonna start the fight. Ornhorn has hit. R2 does not go through, so Ivern's just gonna sit here and let his Mordekaiser tell him how it's going. Disciple does pick that one up, but in the meantime, this mid lane tower is getting absolutely shreked here by DV and Cosboy. And that will be another tower down, splitting throughout the map, just forcing responses. Both teams playing chicken right now.
No, I mean, there's a lot of birds in this game. And it's interesting too, because like both teams, there's only less, like a little bit over 1,000 of a gold difference, so it's not like this is a swing one way or the other. Is he really just gonna? Okay.
Nope. Well, this is a little awkward here. Still has the Ornn stats for a little bit, but Disciples trying to fight this one out. Has way too many people here. I think they want to give this, to the Kindred. So trying to get her the gold that she needs to become a useful champion.
And she's got the stacks, so she is starting to come online slowly but surely. And again, Ocean Soul is coming soon to a theater near you. It's only 30 seconds away. And I mean, it is going to be pretty useful in these fights, trying to stay alive from Mordekaiser in his death realm. Death realm? Realm of death? The death realm? Realm where death happens? It's going to be pretty
the shadow
important.
realm.
The Shadow Realm, Kaiba. We're sued. They are on Baron, though. I don't think
No, this is not.
anyone knows.
Well, they do now.
Okay.
Aegis kind of just sneak that one from under the nose of SON. They do give away a third dragon now, as SON going to pick up their second ocean dragon and their third of the games, one away from that ocean soul, and that is really hard to deal with, even with the heal cut items that you can pick up.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I'm super interested what they're planning to do now, because it is a big thing to give over, is the third ocean dragon. Soul Point is no laughing matter, and I mean, Baron's huge, obviously, but it only lasts a few minutes, so they need to make something of this, or they're going to continue to have Akali just kind of run all over them. It just kind of looks like they're chilling in the river at the moment, singing songs to each other, and enjoying the day.
For them.
Yeah, good for them.
Been a long Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Happens. You just need. Sometimes you just gotta sit back.
Hey,
Make sure
Tessa,
everything's good, everything's okay.
This is game 1.
Yeah.
We got potentially 4 more of these.
I'm well aware of that, Gavin. That is how numbers work.
It's a lot of League of Legends. I actually don't know what numbers are, and I will fight anybody who tries to tell me.
That's never been more apparent to me than today.
Yeah. You couldn't pay me to do math.
Yeah, because you wouldn't be able to count the money.
Wait. When you get paid, do you have to count the money?
I check to make sure that I'm getting paid the amount that I'm supposed to.
Is reading a number the same as counting?
You have to be aware of the relative number and what that means in relation to other numbers around it.
That sounds fake.
Anyway, tower's gonna go down, Ornhorde's gonna come through, it's only gonna hit ex-jungle convict, Ivern's gonna knock them up with the phase rush, run away, flashing as well, so everything is a disengage, but it's still a tower in favor of Aegis Quantum.
Yeah, so they've gotten 2 towers off this Baron push, which is pretty solid. The gold lead's starting to swing in their favor a little bit, but again, the gold lead has never dipped above like 2,000 gold in either direction, which is super interesting because this is a really bloody and kind of all over the place game. Mordekaiser is still split pushing bot lane. I honestly right now could not tell you which team is going to win this game because it is so back and forth. There's so many different weird win conditions. There's so much scaling on the side of Aegis, but Akali is such a backline threat, and they haven't proved that they can stop her from just doing flips all over their entire team. So it's really going to depend, I think, on just which team has the better macro and which team can kind of take advantage of the knowledge of where the other team is and kind of like take towers while the other team is not looking. And so far, it just stuck a whole Baron while SON wasn't looking, so I'm kind of giving the favor to them in this one, to be honest.
Yeah, the macro game has seemed to be a little bit better favored for Aegis overall, and their ability to come back. This game has been so back and forth, but it's still, the longer we go, the scarier these champions are going to get, and SON just still have that timer ticking, and they might be able to punch the clock a bunch and make the clock go back a little bit, but it's only going to get them so far.
Yeah, they don't have a Zillion on their team, which is just tragic, so they can't rewind time. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting too, because again, all of the people that you want to be fed on the side of SON are fed. You've got the Mordekaiser, who is pretty big at 3 items with a stopwatch, and you've got the huge 6-0 Akali with, again, 2 items and a stopwatch and a 8 stacked Dark Seal. But also,
for a reason,
we're good. No, thank you. No engage. But so the side of SON is they're kind of doing this 1-3-1 comp where they're kind of trying to pushing out, make sure that Aegis can't just do what they did earlier and split off the map and take towers when you're not looking. They are hovering around this dragon. Again, Ocean Soul is going to be pretty huge going into this, though it will only be Aegis' second. So, I mean, they're not even looking really to get Soul in this game. They're just trying to deny.
Oh, Ivern doesn't have the flash, and he is just going to go down. Big bullet time, but nobody to follow up and nobody to keep him in.
They are pretty low for this fight, though, and Akali is very fed.
Oh, she's thinking about it.
Take it.
You have 2 champs here that are just like if they see it, they're going to go for it. TP's going to get burned by St. Alucard to get back into this fight full health. And we still do have the egg on the Akali. Or on the Anivia.
Yeah, oh, I'm the one getting bonked. Okay. And then, so I do think this is just going to go in the side of Aegis.
Holy moly, Cosboy already pops the Mordekaiser like it's nothing. Ex-Jungle Convict going to use the dragon to get away. Does not have, nope, he will use the shield to get over. Jerryman going to get a knock-up. Warnhorn is now back up, and they're starting it off once again. Zendef is in a 1v5 situation, but they don't even need to see him. He can just keep taking damage in that shroud, and Zendef is going to get chased away. Burns the flash to get over the wall, and finally, Aegis get another dragon for themselves after being stalled out for so long on it.
Yeah, and again, they're not going to get Ocean Soul this game because that would take another 10 minutes, and I don't think this game is going to last another 10 minutes, and that's assuming they don't miss a dragon. But they are looking like they're going to push mid. Baron is up. That's an option. I think MF is caught out here.
This is an absolutely scary Xayah right now. And SSJ Ivern also going to be going down. Going to be chasing him away. And suddenly, Aegis Quantum have everything going their way. And they're going to back away just a little bit here. But once these minions are back in, this Xayah is going to keep pumping out damage. They're charming in with the Rakan. Kazboy going to pick up another one. And that is tower down. Inhibitor next to follow. And we'll see if they want to keep pushing on this.
Oh, they absolutely should. You've got 13 seconds on the Misfortune. I mean, like, you're all healthy.
He gets stunned and he's down. That's a shutdown. That is the Anivia picking that one up. And ex-Jungle Convict gonna walk in, try and distract him, but he is not juicy enough. The Kindred ult going to keep them alive in the bullet time. MF does pick one up, but the Nexus is open, and the Nexus is gonna go down. Aegis Gaming, after a back and forth flip-flop, pull off game one and go up 1-0 in the series.
That was really impressive. Good macro play, honestly, from both teams, but then it just kind of tipped in the favor of that scaling that we talked about earlier. SON weren't able to secure a big enough lead in the early game. Again, I said it at one point, but up until 20-something minutes, there was no lead that was greater than 2,000 gold, and it just kind of kept dipping back and forth between the two sides. So, yeah, just kind of edge to the team that built more scaling into the comp, and they had an actual tank that wasn't just an Alistar who kind of dies a lot. So, yeah, just good drafting, good playing around the draft, good macro. If the rest of the series is like that, it's going to be pretty good.
I mean, anytime a game is flip-flopping back and forth, you have to give the edge to the team that has the scaling, because it means the game is dragging on. It means that nobody is really ending the game. So Aegis, while it does flip-flop and they'd rather just stay ahead and they'd feel better about that, it's still a win for them. SON needed clean victories going into that 15-minute mark, and they didn't get it.
They didn't. And I hopefully going forward, I think the meta in this series is going to kind of drift towards these more late scaling comps. Again, because it's just they're easier to pull off. They just do better, and if both teams are going to kind of play this way, where they're going to kind of trade objectives across the map, you want champions that can make the most of that gold and Misfortune.
Yeah, well, I do believe we are going to be ready to head over to our desk, or we are going to a break. I was not briefed on what the turn of events was going to be. So we are going to take a quick break, and we will see what happens with the desk as we do come back in just a moment, guys. Don't go anywhere.
And welcome back to the desk here. And after a fantastic game 1 play here for Aegis Quantum, they come out on top. Once again, Rare Atom alongside Industrial and Sniper. And we've got a couple of replays here to break down with the desk. First and foremost, we got to take a look at that early Dragon fight. And Sniper, Akali here, this is where she starts to get online.
Yeah, Akali massively popped off in this fight. You kind of see there's a little bit of infighting in the start here. Red team is forced to back off of this. And then there is a fantastic kick that comes through in a second after we see really good heads up play by the Anivia there. Blast coning Lee into the fight. And then Lee goes back in, gets a fantastic kick onto the Kindred, makes her use the ult almost immediately. And that fight seemed like it kicked off significantly earlier than Aegis wanted it to actually start up. And so Akali gets the double right there, goes back in, Mord ults the Xayah, and then Xayah comes out of the ultimate straight into the Akali. That's a triple kill for the Akali. The only issue here was Akali then took that triple kill and went into her shroud for the rest of the game, did basically nothing on the entire map, and despite being 6-0, very, very early into the game, had almost no presence across the map, and it just felt like there was no actual effect felt from having a massively fed mid-game assassin.
Yeah, and I think for SO and Leviathan in that sense, they had this struggle in the early game through the bottom side of the map. You know, we saw the Xayah 4-0-1-1 carrying a heavy bounty, and then Akali comes through, picks up a triple kill, able to get that shutdown on their head. And then what happens? Akali disappears for the rest of the game, as you were saying. But for you, Industrial, we can take a look at sort of this top lane play as well later on, where it seemed as if Aegis Quantum were like, you know what, this Akali not going to be as impactful as we think. Let's see what we can do about that.
Yeah. So the one thing with the Akali is that, as you guys mentioned prior, is it's like she just got all of these kills and then just immediately just went offline, just completely disappeared. And then we ended up with this play of can't see it right now. I'm sorry. The parsec has gone away from me. Okay, there's no play. Okay. Sorry, but we just had this play of like where Baron came through and everyone was like Akali while she was roaming bot side and just kind of like staying in the bushes and this kind of stuff. Immediately after that, we kind of get this play from Aegis where they're like, well, what if we do Baron? We last saw Akali bot side, and then all of a sudden, I'm talking about the wrong
Just
play.
keep going. No,
Okay.
just keep going.
But with this, it was just like the sneaky little Baron, and like we saw these like little picks from Akali through time to time, but it just wasn't enough. Because we never saw her present in like taking towers or in team fights. She just always stayed in her shroud afterwards, and that's how we were able to get this Baron steal while they were going towards Dragon. Like they just thought they could get Soul, and then in return for being off map, instead of looking and being like, oh hey, the rest of the team is off, like the enemy team we're against is off map, they just continued to sit at Dragon instead of going to check Baron immediately. And they could have maybe had a really good fight there where Akali maybe could have gotten more kills and that kind of stuff, but then she eventually it didn't happen.
And it felt like that was sort of the trend for most of that game, that we were always waiting for Akali to do something, and it just never really panned out for SON Leviathan here. So, Sniper, I have to ask you here, what do we need to see out of SON Leviathan to sort of even up this series for themselves?
I mean, as much as I hate to say it, the constructive criticism that I would provide is maybe look towards a bot side that doesn't get quite as slammed early. The Alistar pick felt a little bit awkward at the start of the game. Picking Alistar into Rakan Xayah does not seem like a very good strategy. Rakan had like 4 dashes. We saw multiple times there where they tried to get a pick on somebody and Rakan just dashed out of the way of it. We also saw Alistar face checking a couple of bushes that probably shouldn't have been face checked, as shown by him dying almost immediately. So just trying to shut down that early advantage that Aegis got in that bot side would be a really good way to do it. And then also like keep doing early game, do what you did with mid lane. Get that mid laner fed as hell and just try and play around it for the rest of the game. Like make sure that your mid laner is there when team fights start startup. Don't have them just kind of chilling in a bush bot side while there's 4 people fighting top. It's just small stuff like that where it's like, yes, you have all of the pieces. You've shown that you can get those fed members, and now it's just playing around those fed members later on into the game.
And I guess on the flip side, for you, Industrial, what do we want to see sort of repeated from Aegis Quantum for them to jump into a 2-0 series lead?
I think just keeping in mind, like, they saw how their like enemy team performed, and they were like, okay, obviously they're prioring dragons, like we can pyro this Baron. And they knew to just stay like in their lane, and they knew that they were a scaling comp, and that's exactly what they did. Like, they took Akali being offline, that they're using these advantages that the enemy team is giving them, and it's absolutely perfect. And as long as they keep taking these advantages and just using them to the best of their ability and just doing everything they can to just any like little moment of weakness that appears, they just immediately take that. And as long as they keep doing that and they know how their team comp functions well, like as a whole, they'll be great. They'll be perfectly fine.
Yeah, for sure. But on that note, we will be sending it back to the cast hours, 1,000 Eyes and Gavino for game 2. Excited to see what this one has in store.
And welcome back, everybody. We are into the draft already for game 2 here. Teams have decided to stay on the same sides, and already we're seeing a couple of changes here with the Xayah banned away.
Yeah, that's a smart ban. Xayah's just really good at all points in the game, really safe, doesn't really have any clear weaknesses, can build either hyper carry or lethality. My cat is attacking things. Stop it. But yeah, so I mean, I don't expect anything to change on the side of Aegis from last game, really. Obviously, the Xayah being banged out means you have to pick a new AD carry, but there's plenty of other choices. So I don't think anything too drastic should change on their end. As far as SON, kind of a little bit more late game focus. Maybe switch away from the Alistar. Didn't do a ton last game. There's a lot of other engage options if you want to go that route. I know Leona's still up. Thresh is always good. Ahri's a good pick. I like it.
I mean, Ahri was banned away in game 1, so Aegis getting the opportunity to take that this time. And Ahri has been a pretty solid staple whenever she has been in the meta, but especially now, she has been changed a good bit to give her a lot more mobility, much more meteor heal when she does get that passive off, and overall has been a really strong kind of neutral pick in the mid lane.
Yeah, and honestly, she kind of functions in a similar way to Anivia, where she has good wave clear, she sustains in lane, you're basically not going to be able to kill her. She also does have that pick potential with her charm, so she kind of fills the same role a little bit. She's just a little bit more more pick oriented as opposed to team fight oriented. But yeah, so good pick. I also like the Diana. Diana's really strong. Jungle Convict does play a lot of it and is pretty good at it. I like the Ezreal. Safe, scales really well. Pretty much the same thing as Xayah.
Yeah, it does provide a lot of that protection. And the thing with the Diana, it does also combo well with a lot of things. Something that we have always seen. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Keep going.
We have always seen the Diana combo with the Yasuo. It's been really strong and just gives him a easy engage opportunity, as Aegis are gonna actually lock in this Amumu here for what seems to be once again a strong team fight composition.
Yeah, so I mean, I expect us to be in the jungle, but also knowing this league, like, can also be very well in support. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Yeah, Senna's pretty good. I want them to pick it already. Thresh, yes, I called it out. I'm a genius. I win. Everyone else go home. But yeah, Thresh is just really good. Like, he's just a good champion. He does everything you want a support to do. So I really like that, especially providing more pick comp, more pick potential into the Ezreal. Like, you can't EOA, but the Thresh hook is still going to be on top of you. So it's a pretty good pick into Ezreal. I do like it. And also, being able to lantern in an Amumu is just good times. And when you see the Yuumi coming out, yay!
Yeah, Yuumi pairs well with the Ezreal, really solid, easy to play into a lot of the kind of more frustrating bot lane combos that you might want to deal with. You just kind of sit on the Ezreal, stay alive, and do your thing in the late game. But it does take away a lot of lane presence as well. So this does really mean SON Leviathan's bot lane is not going to have anywhere near the same amount of pressure as they had in game 1, or had the potential to have in game 1.
I do think that they are angling towards a Yasuo. I think they're going to pick their top lane first and kind of force the Yasuo ban out. If they don't ban Yasuo, it's probably going to be picked up last. Or they'll save it, their top lane. There it goes, Yasuo ban. It pairs really well with the Diana. It's great with a Yuumi because one of Yasuo's main issues that once he gets in, he's pretty squishy once he goes in. So having the Yuumi on top to provide that sustainability and then the just engage with the ult is just too good. So I do like that ban. It's just, you gotta do it. Kind of sucks, but you gotta do it. Also blocks like every engage that Aegis have drafted so far. So yeah, don't really know what they're gonna pick, honestly. They had Akali last game and did really well, but wasn't able to secure the win. So I don't know if they're gonna go back to it. Kassadin, okay.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of Kassadin, but also like you do know who their mid laner is. You're not picking it blind. So that's not the worst thing, but it's definitely not something that we see too often.
Absolutely not. It has been slowly getting a little bit of popularity. I have seen it come up here and there, and especially against something like the Ahri, who doesn't have the burst damage to be able to kill Kassadin in the early game, thanks to the passive Kassadin has, taking a lot less magic damage. So it does give some protection. It does mean Kassadin should have the ability to scale, even if it means that he is going to be getting constantly shoved. SON really kind of going the opposite way around here of, yeah, they've got really strong individual late game champions, but they don't have any kind of lane pressure to play around.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Kassadin is just so weak in the early game. He's basically a caster minion. It's really easy to just bully him and gank him, but not let him do anything. But as soon as he hits 6, it's a champion again. But yeah, Jinx and Jax. That is a strong round of picking on the side of Aegis. Those are two. Jinx, I think, is just the best AD carry, like, period, full stop right now. And then Jax also super strong right now. Very good into basically anything. I don't know who you're going to counterpick into that. You don't have the access to the order. Alawi! Okay. That's a team fighty champ. I like it. I really like it. We don't see Alawi enough. I personally hate Alawi. I hate playing into Alawi very much, but I do think it's dumb that she's so strong and we do not see her at all.
Not just that too, but because a lot of her damage is coming from that tentacle damage, it's not going to be blocked by the counter strike, as opposed to something like the Ornn with the clap wouldn't be able to grab it, wouldn't be able to work with Fiora or anything like that. It's gives so much more ability to actually deal damage to this Jax. So I am curious too, though. Jinx obviously has been nerfed this patch, has a solid chunk less health in the early game. Well, just in general, she loses out on a lot of health. She's a lot squishier, and you're up against a Kassadin and a Diana. Does that scare you at all?
Not really. I mean, in the late game, obviously, a Kassadin jumping in on you with a Yuumi is going to be terrifying, and they also do have a Diana for that engage, so, like, there is absolutely potential for the late game for her to just pop. But also, on the other side, they have so much engage potential with the Aegis, and so much ability to go forward and scale hard as well, that, like, there's basically, it's just going to be whichever team tries to engage first, they're going to do fine. So, I like the Jinx for that, because if you have that engage on the front line too, you can get those resets and start chasing down the Kassadin, chasing down the Ezreal with a Yuumi on top of him. So it's like, I actually do think it's fine. It's dangerous, certainly, but it's fine as long as you're the one going forward.
Yeah. So that's kind of the big question then. Can they actually make that the consistent way that they are playing? And can they keep this Kassadin down? Because you don't have the protection to stop Kassadin from doing his thing. So SON Leviathan, while they are running a different composition, still are looking to have that snowball potential that they weren't able to really capitalize on in game 1.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you want a late game scaler, Kassadin is the guy. So they definitely drafted for that. But then they also do have the early to mid game damage of the Diana. Ezreal is no slouch in the early game damage either, especially if you go like press the attack or conqueror or something like that. So I do think they have enough power at all stages in the game that as long as they recognize where that power is and play to it, they should be okay. And then on the other side, Aegis, they have so much pick potential and so much reset ability. Like, you're not escaping a Jinx or an Ahri who gets resets. So it's going to be, the onus is completely on whoever can engage first and better. And I think that's going to be really fun to watch, is both teams just sprinting at each other. And that's what we're getting.
Yeah, the gold values between these teams will be really, really telling going into some of these fights here. And also just how these teams decide to engage, because both of these teams are really strong kind of AoE fighters. You have Alawi, you have Diana, you have Kassadin, who can do a lot of damage to people grouped up in a small area. And then you have the Amumu to set up for a Jax engage, allow for Jinx to spread the rocket damage throughout an entire team. Both these teams seem to want to do very similar things, and generally when that happens, it is whoever gets the lead early on that actually starts pulling away with the game.
Yep. So it's super volatile game is what we're hitting at. It's going to be a lot of team fighting, a lot of resets, a lot of kills, hopefully.
Yeah, as teams have locked in here, and we are counting down for the 3-minute spectator client timer to start here. What are these lanes that you're looking at here, and what are you looking for in terms of interesting matchups?
So I mean, I actually think that Ezreal Yuumi does have a slight advantage, as long as you can get all that damage onto one person. If you try to split it up between Jinx and Thresh, they are just going to run you down because they have a lot more sustained damage through the Jinx. I do think Ahri has a little bit, like, shouldn't be able to kill the Kassadin, but does have a lot of priority on Kassadin in the early game, and then
How do you handle this? How do you go forward for either champion if they do start to fall behind? But I mean, the other ones do have clear win conditions. The Ahri is looking to shove and try and roam before the Kassadin can start to do things. The Jinx and Thresh are trying to engage and get something out of that lane. And all of this seems very, very conditional on being played correctly.
Yeah, it's none of these teams. I mean, Aegis has a lot more ease of execution because, like, Amumu has one button go in, Ahri can just land a snare, Thresh can just land a hook. So it's a little bit easier for Aegis to go in and accomplish what they're trying to do. But like, the cap for SON I think is a little bit higher with the Kassadin scaling and the Ezreal damage potential. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun one.
It absolutely will be. Well, we're going to take a quick break before into the And welcome in everybody as we are into game 2. Aegis still on the blue side and looking to maybe get something out of this level 1 here. As we are waiting to see what occurs. There is the flash forward. Not gonna hit, and Jerryman just loses out on a flash. Does have Hex Flash, but it is still a flash down.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not the worst thing to burn flash if you have the hex flash anyway. And like really, you shouldn't be needing to flash into an Ezreal Yumi anyway, so not the biggest loss in the world. But yeah, it's a small advantage. I honestly, you got to go for that anyway, because if he's not paying attention and you land the hook that is just a dead Ezreal level 1, gives a big advantage over to your Jinx in the early game, which is something that's pretty valuable. Jinx, you know, the hyperscaler. So yeah, I might as well go for it, you know?
Why not? As we do see, interestingly enough, no extra consumables for the Yumi by SSJ Ivern.
Huh, yeah, just opted to go for the control word, which is weird, but Yumi players are weird, so I don't question it.
And there we do see how strong the early Ahri trading can be. Auto W auto will give a bunch of damage over. J-Man going for this early hook, hits the Yumi there, will not be able to reattach as Kazboy is actually going to get exhausted. J-Man taking a lot of damage in return, and that is the first blood onto Macro Beast because they took too long. Kazboy trying to dodge this one out, time it out. Macro Beast is taking a lot of damage, but SSJ Ivern is going to pop off, give the shield, pop back on, and Macro Beast gets a double kill in the first couple minutes of the game.
Yeah, I don't know why you don't just leave there, but I mean, she still had flash, so there is that, but it's all good. I do think that that Ezreal Yumi does have the advantage in this bot lane early game, so that's like, I didn't expect them to die, but I did expect the trades to just win over on the side of Ezreal Yumi. That is a deceptive amount of damage and sustain for these like extended team fights.
Yeah, a really great start. There is another hook onto Ivor, and this time he may not be able to get back in. He's going to back away. Will now get the reattached. Jerryman's going to go down again here. Macro Beast hits the Q, does not hit the Q. It went just wide, and now DAV is going to show up, hit the bandage toss onto Macro Beast. Ivor's going to have to back away, but he doesn't have the move speed to do so. A double kill going back the other way over to the Jinx. It is just a absolute baseball fest where we're just tossing it back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, both kills went over to Jinx, which is exactly what you want. Though she does have 150 gold bounty on her, which isn't ideal, but what are you gonna do? Just don't die, Forehead.
It's better than not having 2 kills.
It is.
I will take a 150 gold bounty on my head for getting 600 gold. And
if we do look toward the mid lane, it is like we expected. Sorry, yawning. Going ahead in the favor of the Ahri, who can just bully this Kassadin off the farm. There's not really any recourse for Kassadin, nothing he can do. Oh.
Ex-jungle convict diving in, now hits the Q, but does not have the cooldown for the dash. Again, Divi is trying to get in here. Will now go on to the Kassadin, who does not have any damage or anything to help. Now there's Charm on ex-jungle convict, flashes over the wall. St. Alucard decides to kiss the wall, and now Div is jumping forward, trying to get the kill, but the cat comes in to save the day. It is ex-jungle convict getting away with murder.
So we did say this was going to be a bloody game. Didn't expect it to start happening quite so early, but we are at over a kill a minute, which you do love to see.
And the trading here, the kill did not go on to the Ahri against this Kassadin, so it does mean Kassadin still has some ability to play around in this lane, and he is level 4. Hook hits onto the bot side as Jerryman was once again going in onto Macro Beast, but he's taking a lot of damage in return, and I don't think these trades are working.
Nope, no they're not. Because, so he took Frozen Glacial Augment is the name of the thing, Glacial Augment. But it reduces damage to your allies, it doesn't reduce damage to you. So all they have to do is just trade back the damage onto him, and oh no.
Zendef, he is dead once again. Charm is going to hit, and that's just a kill. St. Alucard picks that one up. Meanwhile, topside Mobility Scooter is actually chasing Disciple. Does not seem to have a way to get away from it, and that is going to be a wasted flash. Disciple goes down as Mobility Scooter picks up the 1v1 kill.
Yeah, Diana's moving topside, but you got to recognize you are not killing the Jax. You are an auto attack based champion. So yeah, it's getting a little dangerous. Cassidon's getting shut down. Jinx is getting the kills. Jax is getting a fed. It's looking a little dangerous, and they do, again, repeat of last game, scale pretty hard. But, I mean, it's not... Again, we're 6 minutes into the game, so this is not over yet, but it is starting to edge out in the favor of Aegis.
Yeah, there we're seeing a little bit of a tiff over the Scuttle Crab here. Div is only level 4, but does have the crowd control. Zedef is now level 6 and will be able to help. Ex-Jungle Convict is actually just going to go down. Mobility Scooter also level 6, ready to fight for this. Ahri is dashing through. Zedef going to have to flash and use the Rift Walk to get over the wall. And once again, SON Leviathan coming out behind.
Yeah, and they're continuing to lose in front of these objectives, which... I mean, they're getting a Scuttle Crab, which is not the biggest thing in the world, but, I mean, Crab's up in about a minute, so you're going to have control over that side of the map, which cannot be understated. Having a Jax with Herald being able to push in this Alawi. I mean, Alawi's strong, but she's also a bully. If you put her behind, she's kind of not a champion. There will hit that point where she ults onto, like, 3 people and just never dies, but really, as long as you can pick people off before that, and they have so many tools to do that, you shouldn't even need to worry about it. So it is going pretty well if you're Aegis. I mean, if you're SON, you just kind of hang in there. You have a Cassidon. This is expected. He's gonna fall behind. It's just to what degree is he falling behind? Really, is the question. Sometimes it's bad, but you are playing Cassidon.
Hook is going to hit on Macro Beast here. Does burn the barrier to try and stay alive. Will shift away. Ex-Jungle Convict has shown up to try and help. Doesn't have the dash. Casboy trying to kite this one out, but dash may come back up. Ex-Jungle Convict just going to use the Q to pick that one up. Shut down. There is that 150 gold going over to the Diana.
See? Called it. I'm a prophet is basically what I'm saying. I called the bounty, and it was immediately turned over.
It was not immediate.
Yeah, it was.
It took a good while there. But regardless, and how many other things have happened in this game in the meantime?
4.
This is why you just aren't good with numbers, huh? Dragon gonna be picked up here by SON Leviathan after that bot lane fight, and trying to get a little bit of tempo for themselves here after a really not great start to the game.
Yeah, it's the same rotation of dragons too, which is interesting. It's another Hextech into Cloud. Oh boy.
Yeah, here comes an engage. Ooh, St. Alucard just kills the Diana there. Easy. Ivern now getting flayed here, so does not have the ability to hop back on just yet. Using that hop to get onto the Cassidon. Cassidon gonna pop away with the cat on his back. And it is just going to be one down. So every time there's something positive, it feels like SON Leviathan can't keep it going.
Yeah, and that's, again, it's so much easier for these engages on Aegis. Like, you hit one binding, a bandage toss, you hit one charm, you hit one hook. They're just really straightforward abilities that are just easy to land, and they're very obvious when it happens. So this is what ease of execution looks like. It's both teams do similar things, but it's just easier for Aegis to pull this off. Speaking of,
Aegis still fighting up at this top side. Is Alawi able to fight back just a little bit? There is a good hook. Macro Beast not actually going to get pulled into the traps though, and just going to shift away. Can't really dive or gank, and Ezreal very difficult to do.
Yeah, now Yumi's there too, so Extra don't want to do that though. It looks like they're gonna try.
Yeah, Dude has spent a lot of time down here, and now is gonna go over to the other bush. This is still a lot of time being used to try and make this gank work.
It's a lot of time, but Macro Beast has been spending a lot of time moving up forward like this, so I mean...
There is the bandage toss, there is the Curse of the Sad Mummy, and there is the death. As Ivern just going to pop away quick to make sure he does not go down with the Ezreal Twink Boy.
Yeah, that's just really smart, recognizing like macros playing a specific way. You can capitalize on that aggression. Like, it's really good if it works, but if you're obvious, it's really easy to read and be like, okay, he's just gonna keep walking forward, and that's gonna keep happening. So let's just kill him. Forehead.
Rift Herald taken on the top side by SON in the meantime. With both these teams really trying to punch back and forth when there is something going on the other side of the map. They are trying to make something happen on the side they are on, as Zendef is also just trading with St. Alucard. St. Alucard has friends.
He does, and they like a grouping, which is a problem for Cassidon. He does not like that. He wants to murder alone. He's an assassin. I don't know. I don't really know what his deal is in the lore. Like, I know he got sent to the Void, and now he's got armor or whatever, but I don't know why. Is he an assassin? What's his deal? Do you know?
He was the first to be sent to the Shadow Realm.
Oh, damn. Where's his Millennium object?
Yeah. He lost it in the Shadow Realm.
Oh, that sucks. I hate it when that
Yeah.
happens. You gotta put an Apple tag on that.
Yeah. It is a frustrating ordeal, and it's not easy to replace those either. So
No, yeah, you gotta spend like a whole day with customer support, and
they always
it's just
fight
not
you
worth
on
it. Yeah. They're like, we need to verify that this is that it's yours, and you're like, but there's literally only one of these in existence, and I'm the only one who has it. So can you just give it? No. Okay. But yeah, so I mean, Hullbreaker for allowing the top lane's interesting. Kind of shows they expect top lane to just be an island. They're gonna sit there and chill. I do like the Bork buy first on Jax. Like, if you're just gonna keep 1v1ing, giving that sustain and the slowing, it's just really good at trading. Oh no.
Zandef is starting to hit that really scary Cassidon point there. Ari not able to trade with him anymore. Look, gonna go wide as ex-jungle convict is now trying to do the same as we saw from the Amumu, but they see her. She is sitting right on top of a ward, and yeah, now she knows.
Yeah, the minions kind of ratted them out. Oh, that's some damage, and they're gonna put the Herald down. So yeah, time not completely wasted. That is gonna be gold going over. Never mind. Ezreal said, no thank you, I don't want gold.
No, it's still jungler gets it.
Jungler does, but AD carry doesn't, and that's who you want the gold on.
I'm not going to disagree, but the money is going places. It would have just been spread more. It's not like the money went away.
So looking back towards this top lane island that's happened, so Alawi is 0-1 and Jax is 2-0, but Alawi's up 10 farm and has 3 plates off this tower, and has an immaculate tower that hasn't taken any damage.
Ex-jungle convict. No, he is getting caught out. The Jinx Super Mega Death Rocket gets one. Ivern now trying to dodge out, but he is a very slow kitty. And now Dragon gonna help out, make sure that they do pick up Macro Beast as well. Aegis are now just wildly in control of this game.
Yep, it's a little over 3,000 gold lead for them too. So that ain't too shabby. I mean, at this point, your only win condition is hoping Alawi can just beat the crap out of Jax and start getting these gold advantages elsewhere. And then Cassidon eventually will just be Cassidon. He's already kind of winning these trades, doesn't even have a mythic item, so it's a little frustrating for the Cassidon, because you're like, I know I win these trades and I could kill Ari, but every time he's tried to do anything, there has been someone else in his lane, and I understand the frustration. Never mind.
There, Alucard doing lots of damage. You can't just dash forward, because that will just be the charm into the root here that SON just cannot deal with.
Yeah, and Ari has sustained in this matchup too, which is rough for the Cassidon. Like, all things even, if you go in and you both trade the same amount of health off, it's going to be a win for Ari, because she has that inbuilt sustain and Cassidon has nothing. And they took the Rod of Ages was the one. It was Catalyst, the one that when you burned mana you got health back.
Yep.
So yeah, so no health regen for him. He's just a sad man without a daughter. No HP regen, though. He is closing in on the max tier stacks. Pretty easy to stack up as Cassidon. I think when they made that item, they were like, I think we're gonna give Cassidon a gift.
Well, regardless, it is still scaling that SON needs to get here. And they have to try and stall this game out and try and get this Alawi to get going. And the worst part is they can't even really help her because of the fact that she has that hull breaker going, and putting more people around her means she's gonna have to lose out on a lot of what that item is good at.
Yeah, it's when your top laner in solo queue starts spam pinging it and says, I'm hunting alone. And you're like, that doesn't mean you can't group. And they're like, no, I'm hunting alone.
Jack's gonna have to back away. Ex-jungle Convict looking to go in on this. Slow from the Alawi E, going to help out. Mobility Scooter trying to keep himself alive, and will just jump back in. Gets onto the Diana. Ex-jungle Convict goes down, as now Disciples trying to keep the fight going with the ultimate, but now there are too many people. Disciples just gonna go down. Casboy picks up another kill, as even Macro Beast getting hit by the root here, getting hit by the charm. St. Alucard dodging, weaving, ducking, and diving, trying to get away and trying to get back onto the Ezreal. Just put him down, sat him down, and said, you are not going to hit a damn thing against me.
It is, it's looking rough across the board on the side of SON. You had the Ezreal like, oh, I'm just going to farm in the bot lane. And Ari said, no, not today. Yeah, there's really no opening on the map for them. Kassadin can't push in with any meaningful speed. Ezreal's getting matched by the Ahri. There's just no way back in right now. It's rough. Alawi's strong. Like, she almost turns that 3v1, but like, that doesn't, like, horseshoes and hand grenades. It was close, but you still died, and you didn't even really kill anyone. So, unfortunate.
Yeah, that is an 800 gold shutdown onto the Diana, and now Zendef also catching out Jerryman. We'll just burn the flash to stay alive, but Zendef, I think, wants to keep him in their sights. We'll get the slow from the Everfrost. Traps will be burned, and Zendef will quit the chase while he is still alive.
So Jax did kill Alawi in the top lane, which is woohoo. That's a bad time, because he's going to take this tower, he's going to bonk, bonk, bonk it to death. That's some more gold going the side of Aegis. They've got the Herald dropping in the mid lane, it was probably expiring. Yeah, just, I do not see a way back into this game for SON, and I'm trying to find the avenue, and it's pretty much just hope Kassadin gets to be a champion later in the game.
It's not looking great. Is flash forward, they're gonna catch out. Big shutdown onto Diana there. Ex-jungle Convict now having to try and get back to his team. Here comes Mobility Scooter after the TP to get back into the fight, but they cannot chase down Ex-jungle Convict, and he will stay alive.
Yeah, it's a good on SON, finding a little pick, getting some gold in the pockets of Diana and Kassadin. If there is an avenue back into the game, never mind.
Nope. St. Alucard has thrown that avenue, turned the dirt trail over, planted some seeds, and now it is just a grass field.
Yeah. Do we want to put them out to pasture? Is that the joke?
It was more just taking away the route, the avenue. They're not all winners, okay?
If anyone's played the Stanley Parable remake, there's a bit about comedic timing. There's like an informational video in the 50s style of the like, you have to be 54 inches away from, that thing. So yeah, every time you say a joke, at the end of it, you have to say, I'm dunny with the funny, and then people will know that the joke is over and they can laugh. And the problem is you didn't say, I'm dunny with the funny.
I see.
And so I didn't laugh.
I'm somehow okay with that, as Ex-jungle Convict not okay with getting hit by the hook into the traps, and another kill for Aegis.
Does get to go back to the Moon God. I assume that's what happens in Runeterra when you die, like you get to go to whatever afterlife you subscribe to.
On what platform do you subscribe to them?
Yeah. I don't know. Hold on, there's a joke forming.
Yeah.
It's building. Only gods.
Baron gonna be started up here, as Diov is gonna just try and duo this with the Jinx. They're gonna take a good amount of damage, and it will get spotted, but Disciple is also going to get into a fight here with Jerryman and St. Alucard. Macro Beast is going to peek around and see the Ahri. Div is getting dangerously low here. May actually go down. There is the tentacle that picks up the kill. There's no jungler here. That is actually going to be stolen away. Ex-jungle convict dies for it, but he picks up the Baron and keeps SON in the game.
Curse of the wrecked money, am I right? That dude got annihilated. Really good on I think that is one of those things where you like it really hurts to have to smite to live as a jungler, but like you almost like you have to, because he had ult, so he could have smited to live and tried to walk to the edge of the Baron pit and ulted, because Diana is hovering at the edge of that. So it again, it feels bad. You always want to try to save your smite, but yeah, it's a no-win situation. Not to be too critical, but yeah, I keep saying that, like, I don't think they have a way back into this game, and SON are like, bet. And so they've stolen Baron, got an objective bounty, got another objective bounty on the bot turret, and it's all going on to the Cassidy, who now has 2 items, is going to finally start getting some gold in his pockets. He's only level 13 now. Once he hits 16, he will finally become the Cassidy. As soon as that's true, as soon as he hits 16, it's the Cassidy.
The Cassidy, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, also important to note here is Disciple is going to get into a fight using the ult there himself, but not going to be able to stay alive. Div is going to peek around. Super Mega Death Rocket, going to pick that one up. Tower's going down in the mid lane in the meantime, though. And while it is the Alawi losing out on that top lane fight, it is still another objective picked up, and overall getting some gold into the rest of these teams' pockets.
Yeah, and I mean, Jax is a champion as well. We keep talking about the power spike, but Jax also is going to hit a point where, oh no.
Div is getting caught out. There is a nice Thresh Lantern to get him away, and St. Alucard gonna hit the charm into the hook. Macro Beast had nowhere to go, nowhere to hide, and St. Alucard gonna jump over the wall. SSJ Ivern also gonna get hit there, and what looked to be a great fight for SON. They couldn't finish off the kill in time, and the carries got picked off.
Yeah, this might. I don't think this is. They're gonna end the game off of this, but this might be a big push that kind of starts tipping it in that one favor. Uh-oh, might be a dead Jack.
Oh yeah, wait, Cassidy does not have the mana.
Oh, no?
There it is, the turnaround, but the shutdown comes in just in time. Disciple picks that one up, but they're losing an inhibitor in the process, and there is no way for them to save it.
Yep, so inhibitor down, dragon's coming up. It's going to be the 3rd dragon for them. It's going to be Infernal Dragon 2. That is going to start just making the Jax that much more painful to deal with. The burst is going to hurt that much more. And I do think a huge part of this is that Jax is so good at pulling Alawi, their best team fighter, away from these team fights. And then you have a Mumu who's just sitting on top of their entire front line, just shredding resistances, while Jinx just kind of sits back and waits. Jinx doesn't even have to do anything, which is so satisfying in these kinds of games. Like, I'm gonna ult, and then I'll get a kill, and then I'll reset, and then I'll kill everyone. So that's my game plan. So again, ease of execution. It is so easy for Jax to just be Jax, pull attention, and then you just have so point blank engage. That's really hard to miss.
Smite fight. Yeah, that is actually picked up by the Jinx of all things. Casboy then flashing out, staying alive, as Zamdef is going to just get completely obliterated there. And now the fight is going to continue. Resets are coming. Ivern gonna try and run away. Charm is going to hit onto ex-jungle convict, and that is another kill. Disciple, the only one left alive, while the Jax is in the base. He's pushing for the win. He knows they can't do anything to stop him, and the Alawi is just going to toy with them. Just going to be sat there, played with, as Jax finishes this game. And Aegis Gaming now on to game point, set point for the finals. 2-0 so far in this best of 5.
Yay, yay, it's looking like a sweep. That is, woo, did not
He closed the league client. Gavin, Gavin. He is trying to speak.
Exactly how
there we go.
Oh, was I quiet?
When you close the league client, it completely messes up Discord, so we cannot hear you.
Rad. So yeah, brilliant by them. They know exactly what they want to do, and they are drafting towards that and playing correctly around it. They're picking these really easy to play scaling team comps, and it's so cool to watch. I hope SON can kind of find a similar avenue of like recognizing like, okay, this is what we're going to draft around, and then here's how we're going to play around it. Because if it's another game where Aegis come into the game and they're just like, we have a plan and we're going to use it, it's probably just going to be a 3-0.
Yeah, it definitely seems like SO and Leviathan need to find something out, figure something out. They tried to play really aggro in game 1, could not manage it. They tried to match the scaling in game 2 and could not manage that either. Aegis seem to be on form right now. And we're going to take a quick break to get ready for game 3 and see if SO and Leviathan have an answer for the Aegis gaming and see if they can pull us back in and keep this series alive.
And welcome back, everyone, to our desk here, where shockingly it feels, but not really shockingly, Aegis Quantum up 2-0 in the series. We're at him alongside Industrial and Sniper once again. And this game it felt like we were waiting for something that was never going to happen out of SON Leviathan. And Industrial, it all started off with this crazy bot lane sequence in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah, it just was an absolute bloodbath bot lane, and they wasted all their util on Yuumi, who just immediately attached onto the Ezreal, and even though Ezreal had to start with E because of an invade, just was absolutely able to go in on this lane, and they were able to land the double kill on bot lane immediately to the start and just get such a huge lead off of that. And it was just absolutely like amazing. And then later on we would see, and I'm not gonna make Brendan clip this, we would later on see another fight in the bot lane where Jinx and Thresh would just make this comeback. They'd hook the Yuumi again, but as they wasted all their util on Yuumi again, Amumu was able to just sweep in and just go in for the kills, and it was just an amazing fight to see. And Jinx was able to get another double kill, and then from there she was just able to catch up and snowball off of there. And it was really sad to see, because you see this amazing double kill in the beginning, and to just see like from there the decline, it was just a really sad thing to watch, honestly.
Yeah, and it's really from there that everything started to go downhill for SON Leviathan and Aegis Quantum. They've just been able to push forward these leads. I mean, I had the clock here ready just in case Cassidy was able to get off the ground, but unfortunately nothing of the like came. But there's still that one glimmer of hope that SON Leviathan I mean, we'll play the replay.
Oh
and
god,
the sniper. I don't.
It
really
was
know.
so scuffed. So this replay starts off. You see Amumu and Jinx trying to two-man a Baron. Illaoi actually gets vision of this and gets her E applied onto Amumu, and so Amumu is just sitting in the pit, getting hit by Illaoi tentacles, and ends up dying before they can finish the Baron. And so you get SOM Leviathan comes in with the Diana like last second to just smite the Baron away. And it's just like, it was just so weird seeing this, because it was going so well for Aegis and they still ended up winning the game, but it was going so well. And then there was just this cluster of a Baron that felt so unbelievably forced and entirely unnecessary. They started it like at 20 minutes when the Baron spawned, and we were all just kind of sitting here going like, wait, why is this happening? This is not necessary at all. It just felt so unbelievably forced, and Leviathan took very good advantage of it and managed to get a Baron out of it. And it didn't end up helping them to win the game, because the game still continued to go downhill from there. But it was probably the high point of the entire game for them, despite it being more of a throw on Aegis's part than a like outplay on Leviathan's part. But I mean, I guess you gotta have someone there to catch the throw, as they say.
Yeah, and then finally, we get to see sort of, you throw it one way, you throw it back the other way. And we see that with the final Dragon fight as well. And Industrial, just explain why Diana chooses to do this, if you can, because I can't.
So sad, because Diana was so good at taking care of objectives, and then she thought, oh, let me just ult and we'll fight, completely forgetting about the dragon. And she was still tanking hits from the dragon and would just get so hurt. And you see Amumu coming in, you see Ari coming in to secure the kill on Diana, just this huge fight. And meanwhile, if you look at the map, you see Jack's top, like in their base, about to end the game. There it is right here. He is just going in and clearing waves. Meanwhile, the rest of his team is just making sure Illaoi doesn't bag, and they've already killed the rest of them. The team is aced. And from there, you just see the game come to a complete end. And it was just so sad, because instead of keeping focus on the dragon that this Diana obviously really wanted, and it was a bad dragon call to begin with, especially with the base and shambles like that, and not everyone in vision. But just to automatically go in and try and go for this 4-man ult over the dragon, it was just really upsetting to watch. And just, it was a sad way to see the game end. But congratulations to Aegis on that win there.
Yeah, and really briefly, just going to ask both of you, is this just going to be a sweep at this point? Because S1 Leviathan, they don't look like the number 1 seed team. So, Sniper, is it going to be a sweep?
I mean, Leviathan picked red side, so we'll see, or they picked blue side, sorry. So we're switching sides for this game. We'll see if they can switch up anything drastic, but honestly, at this point, it's looking like it may just be a sweep for Aegis. They're just the better team today.
Seems to be so, but what we'll do is we'll toss it back down to Thousand Eyes and give to see what we get in game number 3. Take it away, casters.
And welcome back, everybody. Getting ready for the draft for game 3 of the night here, as Aegis have SON Leviathan on the ropes. And so far, SON, they've tried to change their game plan. They've tried to mix things up, but right now they're trying the one thing that they have not tried, and that is starting on blue side.
And also winning. Yeah, haven't tried that yet.
Well, they've tried winning.
Sorry, that was mean. But I don't think we're gonna see anything too different out of Aegis. Just easy to pick and engage with scaling. It's so just tried and true. It's really good. It's easy to do. Just keep doing it. Outside of but SON, I don't really know what they're gonna look for. I mean, their strongest moments have been out of the mid lane on an assassin. Like the Akali mid game was fantastic. Kassadin actually did fine, honestly. In that late game, it was just by that point where Kassadin was a champion, everyone else was so far behind, it was just nothing on the map for Kassadin to do. So I think if you're gonna build that kind of, if you're gonna draft that kind of mid laner who kind of requires that scaling, then you need tools to get the other lanes ahead, so that even though your mid laner's behind, you're not kind of just tossing the game in a bucket and saying, oh well, we'll wait till late. You need to be a little bit more proactive, especially against these scaling comps with easy engage. Just drafting more spice. I want more spice. That's what I want. Spiciness. There we go.
There, hey, you wanted spice, you're gonna get it. The Lucian is the first pick for SON, a champ that has been really, really strong and has so much just early power potential that SON Leviathan really looked to do well with when they did get that lead in game 1.
Yeah, and Lucian is a champion who can get ahead early and then just keep it. A fed Lucian is a fed Lucian. That champion does bonkers damage, and it's really hard to get away from. Does great in team fights with that ult, just being able to kite back. Doesn't even have to be in auto attack range. Pretty fantastic. Ahri, again, it's just a good champion. It does basically everything you want a mid laner to do. Backline access, hard to pin down, pick potential, just pretty great. Lulu coming out, I like it. Again, keep your carries safe. Scale to late game. Win these team fights late. It's easy to go. They don't have as much pressure in the bot lane as early as they did last game, I think, unless they pick something really spicy, like a Draven or something. Okay.
There you go.
Spicy. Let's go. I do like it. I like it a lot, especially into a Lulu. If Lulu gets pulled, that is dead Lulu.
And polymorph it.
And you can polymorph, but you're still on that side of the lane. And then pairing it with the Jarvan, really good champion, early game engage, great setup for these ganks. Yeah, so hopefully they'll be able to play a little bit more aggressive in the beginning, and should be good.
Yeah, so now we are in to the last pick, the Kayn locked in, giving Gavin what he wants, what he is happy to see, and now he is absolutely biased and hoping for a 3-0.
Yeah, it's an Aegis 3-0. Not even close. Yeah. So, I mean, he's fine so far. I like it. It sucks playing Kayn into anyone who has a big AoE silence like Blitz does. It's so hard. If you're going blue Kayn, it's so important to be able to be slippery in those backline team fights, being able to jump around, dodge into walls, and all that stuff. If you're going into red Kayn, just being able to disrupt his little combo and sustaining off that the healing on your abilities is rough. So Blitz is pretty good into Kayn. We'll have to see how the rest of the team comp shapes up. The way that it is right now, it's fine. I love Kayn very much, but he is super weak in the early game, and it looks like SON is drafting really hard in the early game. Jarvan should be able to bully Kayn pretty hard if he gets any help at all. So we'll have to see how the rest of the draft goes before I solidify my 3-0 prediction.
Now we are still going through the bans here. The Jinx has been banned away, so it is going to mean that Aegis are going to have to pick something different here, as Caitlyn also banned. So trying to take away the things that this Lulu can pair really, really well with, especially the things that can stay out of range of a Blitzcrank hook.
Yeah. Zeri makes sense. I like Zeri.
She is a shorter range AD carry though.
She is. She will get out damaged by the Lucian early game, and if she does get hooked, she's basically dead. Though you do have the E to dodge, you have the Lulu sustain, or sorry, the Lulu protection with the shield. So I actually like Zeri a lot, and with her changes, she's a lot more like hyper scaly focused. So it shouldn't be that bruiser, though you can still go it. I love Vigar, by the way. Vigar is stupid good. Pick Vigar. He scales so well. You have so much pick potential, so much AoE teamfight pick potential. It's so good. And then the Gnar to round it out. So I really like their team comp. They have a lot of damage early game, a lot of team fight. They're basically just an incredibly well-rounded comp. Like, this is something I would expect, other than the Blitzcrank, see in the LCS. Like, it's that level of like it's just good at all stages in the game. Whereas Aegis has a little bit more volatility in their draft with the Kayn and the Zeri, and looks like getting another Jax. Yep. So Jax should be able to bully the Gnar, as long as, you know, it's a little rough with the range difference, but can definitely have that potential to run over that lane.
Yeah, so this does now kind of create a harder opportunity for Aegis to get into a fight with that Vigar and the Gnar. So there is enough of a front line for SON Leviathan to kind of just do that death ball they want to do. And the nice thing too is when you combo Gnar with Vigar, even if you don't hit them on the cage, Gnar can hop in and just toss them in anyway. And you know what? It's still gonna do pretty much the same thing that you wanted it to.
Mm-hmm. It's just so good at setting up a zone and be like, all right, you can't come anywhere in here. And then with Blitzcrank, and then you can't come anywhere in this angle. And then with, you know, there's just a lot of like deciding like, actually, you can't come here. And I do think they have the edge in the team fighting, and honestly in the early game too. So it's going to be entirely an execution on the side of Aegis. Like, they have the tools to get ahead, but it is a lot harder of a road. And as we've seen in this series, I think ease of execution is going to win out. And the Vigar scaling. I cannot stress enough how much that champion is just going to explode people when you get enough stacks. It's kind of traditional to go Predator, and then Everfrost and Rabadon's immediately after, because he gets so much value out of Rabadon's with all the extra he gets from his passive. People just melt in front of you. It's so fun to play Vigar right now. But yeah, so I'm giving the slight edge to SON. Yeah, I think SON got this. Yeah,
we will see what happens here as we are going to continue to go through. I'm curious here. So Jarvan, known for being a really, really strong early game ganker. Kayn, not so. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that matchup and how both players need to be playing that?
So I think Kayn is going to be focusing on a lot towards top and mid, especially depending on which form he's going to go to. I expect red, because that's what everyone just assumes is the better one. Blue Kayn has a lot of value if you can get it good and get it going. But Gnar and Vigar would both be able to give you that blue form essence, because you are not ganking a Lucian Blitzcrank as Kayn unless that lane is already behind, because they will just kill you. So I do expect a lot of the focus from Kayn to be towards top and mid, probably farming a little bit. He's really good at ganking, but like, you have to have gank set up to have him come. He cannot be the one engaging on the gank, or he will just die. That squishy in the early game. He's barely a champion before he hits 6 and gets his form. So I hope that we get to see him snowballing, but
I do want to point it out that Casboy and St. Alucard have just been in different spots. They are not, I'm assuming, not going to be swapping roles or anything, and that we are going to see the Zeri in the bot lane and not see any mid lane Zeri with a bot lane Ahri or anything like that. So things should be going pretty smoothly underway here, but we are going to take a quick break as we get ready for what could be our final game of the night, guys. So don't go anywhere. Let's see if we are getting our last game or if we're going to be going on to a game 4. Hello, welcome everybody to game 3 of the day. We have a Blitzcrank and we have a level 1 as you would expect.
That Blitzcrank has Smite as well.
He does.
Because of course he does.
Why would you expect him to be using any other summoner spell as a support?
Doesn't make any sense. You can just Smite things. It's fantastic. Question mark.
We unfortunately did not see anything but the flash from St. Alucard. Like we said, it is the Zeri in the bot lane. Nothing fishy going on that end of the spectrum. But SO and Leviathan definitely pulling some things out of their little bag of tricks to make something happen in game 3.
I think everyone on Aegis is just realizing that Blitz has a Smite because they're all pinging it in chat right now. Yeah, it sucks to play against Blitzcrank normally, and it's worse.
Well,
he's really just gonna be a nuisance, huh?
oh my goodness. He did not take this. He did not take any of the Raptors there. And now might be in a bit of trouble. Alucard going to use the W for the move speed. Divi is just chasing him through. Still has the flash. Divi not going to keep chasing there. But that means that this Lucian gets nothing. Oh no, he will get the experience and stuff, but it's still going to be a hard lane for him to solo.
It also does mean it's a lot of Red Essence going over to the way of Kayn, and given that it is Conqueror start and Red Smite, I do believe it's going to be Red form. So, I mean, that honestly feels great as Kayn. Like, it sucks to have to burn the Flash there, or burn the Smite there, because you tend to want to save it for the bigger camps because you don't have a lot of single target damage. So, having to smite the Chickens camp, which is your easiest camp, is not great. But honestly, the Red Essence is so hard to come by in this game that it's worth it. He's just getting blue stolen.
Yeah, as it is just SSJ Ivern just running around the map. This dude is hoping to get jungle experience as his main form of experience.
He just wants to cause problems. That's it.
He really does, as there is the hook. There is no flash, no knock-up, though, so St. Alucard does have the move speed to get away. So without level 2 on that Blitzcrank, he can't make that work.
Yeah, he's literally just being a nuisance. That's his whole game plan.
Is getting jumped on here. Cosboy gonna drop over the wall to get that first blood there, and ex-Jungle Comet gonna get hit by the charm. Macro Beast shows up just to watch his team die, and he is gonna try and dash over the wall here. I don't think DOV is gonna keep the chase up, but already out the gate, SON Leviathan struggling.
Yeah, listen, I don't like to be biased in my casting. That said, there's a Kayn on one side and a Blitzcrank with Smite on the other. I want the Blitzcrank with Smite to die so much. Yeah, so I mean, listen, like Lucian's doing fine. He's not that behind and getting a XP advantage because of the Blitzcrank not being there. Blitzcrank as a champion functions just fine at level 3 and level 7. Like, it's the same thing. So it's not the worst thing. It's not great that your Zarya's 2-0 and Kayn is that much closer to red form for no reason, but could be worse.
They could have not had someone connect.
Yeah, that is true.
That could have been what happened.
And that's a win.
He is, by technicality, in the video game. Zandef still going to be able to shove this Ahri in, surprisingly, actually. And keep her under tower for a solid back himself. As we are...
really good right now.
Yeah, Viger is just really good. Gnar trying to do his best here to keep pressure on Mobility Scooter, though. Seems to have a good understanding of this matchup and holding that E to block out the procs of the Hyper as much as possible.
That is a 20 CS advantage at 5 minutes into the game. That's a little rough.
Time.
Yeah, it's not fun as the Jax. I do wonder if he's going to go towards the Hull Breaker. It has been nerfed towards ranged champions specifically. Still a fine item. It just kind of depends on what he thinks his role is going to be in this game. I don't know what his role is going to be in this game because there's a Blitzcrank with Smite, and that kind of just throws my brain into a blender.
More so.
Yeah. Yeah, more than usual. Everything else is pretty fine. Zarya's got the advantage in the CS department, but that's to be expected with how the early game went. Everything else is pretty even, honestly, as far as things go. Blitz is level 3, so he has all of his abilities, which is just fantastic.
He has Predator boots.
He does have Predator boots, so he's probably going to start roaming at some point soon. Dragon's up. They do have bot advantage on the side of SON. Sorry, on the Aegis, they swapped. I forgot.
Yeah, as trading is coming in, unfortunately not able to hit anything there as Zendef is
level 6.
Now getting jumped on.
Out of mana, though.
Yeah, very, very out of mana. Here comes the engage, too, on the top side. And on the bot side, we are looking to see if there is going to be a Jarvan gank coming in just a few seconds.
A single Q ult will kill from Vigar, by the way. That is... I cannot stress how much St. Alucard is playing with fire right there, because that is a dangerous champion to be low health near.
As we do see on the bot side, bot lane finally getting a little bit of pressure for SON and trying to get this dragon control for the first dragon take. Although they're lucky in that they are not dealing with an evolved Kayn yet. He is still building up those orbs and trying to get that transformation.
Yeah, and luckily with the spectator client, we have no way of knowing how many assets he has, which is just fantastic. It's not a key component of the character at all. Luckily, we don't have that information. But he does have the Iron Spike Whip, which is weep. He goes weep when he walks through walls. I know it for a fact. And then Blitzcrank is able to just create pressure by just walking forward. What a fun champion.
I think he's created pressure in your brain at this point.
Yeah, yes. It's all coming to a head. Oh, he's got the
Here's
Predator.
the Predator. There is
6.
the hook, but the nice polymorph allows for J-Man to get back out of that fight. Casboy now trying to keep this fight going as St. Alucard and DOV are trying to get into that fight. Macro Beast is trying to dodge everything out, but ex-Jungle Convict shows up to push them away as Zendef Predator's in himself now, maybe looking to get a cage onto somebody. He is waddling very, very quickly, but he does not get the cage. He just gets charmed and stops waddling very fast.
I love seeing Vigar
Ooh,
with
hook.
Oh,
St. Alucard is gone, but now SSJ Ivern very low himself. Div also picks up the kill onto the Lucian, and now Div is gonna get the help get the kill on the Blitzcrank as well. So 2-4-1 on the bot side here. Good stuff from Aegis.
yeah, kill onto Vigar is pretty good. But yeah, the gold advantage is looking definitely in the favor of Aegis. They do have pressure on this dragon if they want to go for it, though it is made more complicated by the fact that there is a Blitzcrank with a smite. But I don't think they're going to go for it. They're just taking the blue buff, walking away. Maybe we'll see a Kayn form at some point.
That is expected.
Yeah.
I will say.
I hope we get to see him transform.
Kayn generally does get to transform in a game. It is a thing that he does get to do. But with that fight bot side, not going to have it just yet, but should be coming up soon. I think it's pretty clear that we are getting the red form when that is available. The question just becomes how quickly can you get those stacks?
Yep. And I do like it. You have so many different things that you're going to need to heal through on the side of Aegis. And oh boy, Predator. Oh, just hop
another hook there. Doesn't get the polymorph in time. Gets the knockup. Jerryman gonna go down on that one. Culling just to make sure the kill comes through, and Aegis lose their Lulu for the first time this game.
I just noticed that SON is using both of the Victoria skins in the bot lane. I don't know why that makes me happy, but it does.
Yeah, very true. X-Flash, there is a hook. Hold on, this bot lane starting to go off. Hasboy now having to back away, and Ivern just smites. Because again, it's a summoner spell that he does have.
He has access to it, and you got to do it as well.
You know
he
what?
also has a Dark Seal too.
You know what? I'm actually wondering here if he has the rune to give him extra move speed after using a summoner spell.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would be really interesting with a smite Blitzcrank with Predator.
He does not.
He does not, so he is trolling. Therefore, I will report him for this after the game.
He does have... He doesn't even have the... Okay, so we went the red tree, obviously, but he doesn't even have the out-of-combat movement speed Hunter one. He went for the one that gives you item cooldown.
Yeah, alright, Div. Gonna get in a fight here against the Jarvan. Actually starting to win this one out. Jarvan not using any abilities so far in this fight. Seemingly trying to wait for friends, and he maybe waiting a little bit longer. I think the abilities need to come through at some point from ex-Jungle Convict.
Yeah, and I feel like even if Kane doesn't win that fight, it's great because you still, again, you get red essence. That's all you're fishing for at this point in the game. Getting up to that form is just so important. Oof, damage. Ooh, I just noticed. Zeri item. That's not a Trinity Force, and it's not a Hydra. It's not Bruiser Zeri. We did it.
Amazing.
I'm so
We
happy.
have finally balanced Zeri.
All things balanced as they should be, except for Blitzcrank with Smite and a Dark Seal.
No, that's balanced. I think it's about what we expected it to.
Yeah, that's fair. He does have one stack, so you know who are we to judge, really?
The people casting the video game.
Oh, he's red form. He did it.
Yeah. Does
That
have
twink
red
has
form
been
Kane here.
obliterated.
Comes St. Alucard dashing forward, getting the charm. Ex Jungle Convict showing up to keep a little bit of protection for his mid laner, and Alucard just gonna take that win and back away. A nice hook coming in onto the Kane. Gonna just hop over early smite to get a little bit of health, but Div is taking a lot of damage still. This is a little bit of a rough fight all around from both teams.
Yeah, that's a feels bad. Having to burn every single thing just to get away from the Blitzcrank is never a feels good. And I do wonder if that's like Blitz's whole thing is just mental warfare, just beating you down and being just annoyed that you have to play against a Blitzcrank because it's so binary. As soon as you get hooked, it's just like, well, I guess I'm here now, and I'm probably gonna die.
Div going forward, heal burn for the move speed. Ivern now flashing forward to get him under tower. Will get the knock up. Here's Stopwatch to keep himself alive through the Kane ult, and they are getting some help from the Jarvan here. Looking to maybe try and keep this fight going. Pushing forward, going. There is the flash from Macro Beast to pick up the kill onto Div, and now a hook. And that will be Casboy actually getting a kill. Casboy now trying to turn the fight around, but he does not have the damage to do so. He goes down immediately. And ex-Jungle Convict now fighting the Lulu and the Ignite. Here comes Zendef. He's zooming. He hits the event horizon. Goodbye, Lulu. That is SON Leviathan getting ahead in the game finally.
Yep, and this is exactly what I was waiting for their comp to start doing. You have so much damage and pick potential with the Lucian and the Vigar, both having super high damage early, and then the engage potential with the Blitzcrank and the Jarvan is just cannot be understated. It's so easy to win these little skirmishes with that little comp, and they're executing it pretty well
There is
so far.
the charm from St. Alucard. No Mega Gnar to come through. Mobility Scooter picks that one up.
Yeah, really well played by them. Pick up a nice little chunk of change after you lose the dragon. Yeah, just nice little catch out there. Oh great, Blitz is here.
The bias is coming out a little bit hard there, guys.
No, that was an insight as to the thinking of Jax and Ari. Oh god damn it.
Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, so let's take stock of where we are at right now, because gold really even all around, but where is it all allocated right now? Because you're looking at SON Leviathan, who've got the gold, I would say exactly where they want it.
So the gold's roughly like there's no gold difference greater than like a couple hundred gold in any of the lanes really. I think the biggest discrepancy right now is in the top lane. It's like 200 or 400, sorry. But yeah, it's interesting. There's no dragon stacking. The absolute earliest you could see a dragon soul at this point is 30 minutes into the game, and that's if SON are able to get every single one from here on out. And yeah, I don't think this is going to be a long one. I don't think there's any clear-cut way to a fast win for either of these champions. I think SON are on track to start snowballing, and because they have gold in the right spots. Lucian and Vigar are going to scale very well, but it is going to take a while, I think, before we start to see any meaningful objectives taken.
Jungle Convict holding onto this top side, going in, Mobility Scooter jumping out. There is the hook onto the Jax, who's going to go down. SSJ Ivern picks that one up, and now Div is going forward. He's going to heal through the ultimate, stay alive through all of that. Ex-Jungle Convict does not get the knock up, but they are not tanking any tower shots, and that will be a clean dive from SON Leviathan.
Yeah, so you were going to dive our Gnar, we're going to dive all of you. It's fine. Fair. So, yeah, well, they're going to take Herald off of this. They're going to get the tower off of this. I expect them to bring the Herald to the mid lane because it is the hardest one to crack. And it also frees you up to start moving a lot faster all over the map, having more vision control over both sides of the jungle. So, yeah, excellent play by them. Again, they're going to start... They should start snowballing. Their comp is basically built for this. They're playing exactly how I would hope to with the aggressive comp that they have.
Yeah, SON, we're seeing more from them than we have seen since game 1 of this series. And it only took a little bit for them to get it in this game, but man, it has started to pop off here. Now, bigger question here, we have seen them kind of neglect this Lucian a little bit, and it has kind of gotten him killed a little bit. Do you worry that is going to become more of a problem the later the game goes?
Not really. I think a lot of the or a lot of the engage tools on the side of SON will kind of make up for the fact that he doesn't have any appeal. Oh wow, he lived.
Wow, Ari stays alive throughout all of that.
But yeah, I mean, he's just even a little bit ahead of a farm over the Zeri. He's got the resources. He has items. He's gonna be fine as long as the rest of the team can just kind of keep picking people like that. You have a Blitzcrank hook into the Vygar cage, into Jarvan's whole deal. It's a lot of death. Very quick, easy to do. So I don't expect him to fall behind too hard. Macrobeast is pretty good at playing AD carry, so we'll have to... I think he should be fine. He's set up pretty well for the rest of the game, I think.
Certainly seems to be at the very least. For now, as we do check around map. Gnar has been winning this matchup for a while, but Mobility Scooter starting to hit that item breakpoint. Has the Blade of the Ruin King and is able to get onto this Gnar pretty effectively when he wants to.
Yeah, and those little short trades are pretty indicative of how that lane is going to start going. Unless you can combo him down, it's Jax. He is going to start just doing that for the rest of the game. He might die for this, but that's fine. You're not even going to lose a tower off that, so just the one death is not that big a deal. He's 1-1, didn't have a bounty, so it's fine.
Yeah, Tower Herald going to be used for that mid lane tower regardless, though. Not going to break it just yet, but puts it very, very low. And I do eventually, when we get an opportunity, want to get an update on where Vygar is in terms of his own stacks and AP counters. Not going to get that just yet because the engage is starting to come in. They're peeking through, trying to clear out wards before the dragon spawns.
So he's got he's just shy of 2. Sitting at about a 300 AP. So not quite the terror yet, and it does look like he's going to finish the tier item before going to the Rabadon, so it's going to take a little bit before we get to that full massive 1k AP YouTube thumbnail Vygar that we all know and love, but we'll definitely get there. This game isn't going to end anytime soon, at least in one direction, so I think they're set up pretty well. It's just going to kind of be a matter of minimizing losses because this Jags will become an issue the longer this game goes.
Absolutely, and it's also just becoming like SON need to keep their foot on the pedal because you have a composition that is all about this kind of engage capability, the Jarvan and the Blitzcrank. They want to go in, they want to start these fights and keep pressure on people, but it's all up to them to actually get that done. And as soon as they let their foots off the pedal, Footsball. You know, footsball. Feetses. I'm biting my tongue. We are gonna move forward on that one. They have to keep their feet on the pedal there in order to actually keep things going, or that lack of forward mobility will hurt SON.
Yep, and I mean, Ari is no slouch in the late game either. She does fall off a little bit, so I mean, there is plenty of room for them to win these team fights. Jax is going to be a menace. Zeri does actually, with this build, scale very well into the late game. That's a lot of damage, very hard to pin down. And Kayn just should live for forever, basically, as long as he doesn't get outscaled too hard. So that, I mean, there's tools on both sides for them to kind of, they just need to take stock. It's a lot easier for SON, I think, which is kind of the motto of this series, is which side has the easier win condition, because it's just, I really think that should be taken into account. Unless you're like Team Liquid, you should be taking ease of play into account, because it does make such a difference being able to do this. So like, it just leaves you room to focus on other things like macro that you haven't put as much time in, because everyone can focus on team fighting and lane skills and stuff like that in solo queue, but these macro fights are really hard to get like conditional experience on. So being able to focus on that and just having tools that you know exactly how they function is pretty huge, I would say.
Div gonna burn the flash here. Ivern looking to go in, running with that. Oh, burning the flash out of Jerryman as well. So 2 flashes burned, but not really too much gain for the foreseeable future, as we don't have another objective fight for the next 2 minutes or so.
Yep, we should just kind of see everybody dancing around unless someone gets a pick off like that.
Oh, TP's coming in. Diev trying to go forward, does not hit the knockup. Mobility Scooter gonna get stunned and back away. Ex-Jungle Convict and Ivern pushing in, but they're just gonna keep people away from their team.
Everyone's just kind of throwing their ults out, looking threatening. Like, I promise, I'll shoot you. I'm like, okay. You aimed it the other way. Yeah.
Eventually.
That was a whiff on both sides. I think it's okay to flame in that situation.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, regardless, teams are going to reset after that. Dragon in a minute, and right now Aegis are the ones getting vision down to prep for it.
And it makes sense. They do want to stop the dragon stacking. It is another Infernal Soul. You do not want to give a Vygar Infernal Soul. Oh my god, you do not want to give Vygar Infernal Soul.
How it could go wrong?
Yeah, it's a little rough. Although it might be a dead jar. What is he doing?
Is he aware? Does he know? Ivern now pushing forward. Nope, that is ex-Jungle Convict just dying. Stopwatch will buy a little bit of time, giving Macro Beast the opportunity to try and kill this Kayn. Not gonna do so yet. Gotta pop out with the heal. DFB is huge right now. The healing coming through. Disciple maybe gonna pick him off now at the end of this, and will do so. Vygar also gets the Ahri in the meantime. So what was a kind of even fight turned out to be something that Aegis don't... Oh no, hold up, we're not done yet. There is the flash forward. Disciple not able to actually get the kill, and Vygar gonna provide a little bit of backup for Gnar to get away.
Yeah, this Zeri kind of snuck up on me. That is a very strong Zeri with 2 items. Working towards another one, probably going to be an Infinity Edge. I do like this crit Zeri. You do still have some survivability with the lifeline from... what is it called? Oh my god, I can never remember. Shield Bow. That's the name. But yeah, so like you still have some survivability, but the damage with this build is so much better than the Bruiser build that she's such a threat in these team fights. But there's so much damage on both sides. Every side is going to inherit losses. It's just going to be up to Kayn kind of trying to live his absolute longest. And he did heal a lot in that team fight. So basically just keep an eye on Kayn. He's kind of the indicator for how these team fights are going. The longer he's alive, the better of a chance.
Ooh, Dragon pick up now. Soul Point onto SON, but the fight is going to start out there as Mobility Scooter is going to get a kill onto the Blitzcrank, but actually the Kayn goes down. So Disciple in the middle of the team buying a lot of time, just giving the rest of SON Leviathan the chance to get away, and they get away with a Soul Point now in the next couple of minutes. Infernal Soul on that Vygar, ready to go if they can pick it up.
Yeah, that's pretty crucial. So by the time the next dragon rolls around, Vygar should probably have his Rabadons completed. So that is going to be an extremely high priority fight that Aegis absolutely need to take. If you give that up, you're basically just giving the game over to Vigar. It's his game to run at that point. Might go towards the Zhonya's angle, but he does have that rod in his inventory. I expect that to be the Rabadon's. It is a core item on Vigar because you just get some stupid damage with that thing. And by the way, he's at 276 stacks and has just over 500 AP. And he doesn't have a Rabadon's yet.
That is not bad at all. As we are seeing teams just hold up and wait for the time being. Nobody wants to pull the trigger on that Baron just yet, and nobody's been able to really crack anything tier 2 wise. So this game has been really, really slow. Obviously, the mid lane, Aegis did get 1 tier 2, but everything else still up at about 30 minutes into the game. This game taking its sweet time to form its narrative.
Yeah, it's an incredibly close game again, which is awesome. I do think it's super risky to go for that Baron. Like, both teams could probably do it pretty quickly. Zeri's going to take it pretty quickly. Lucian and Vigar probably do it even faster. But you almost don't want to do that, because if you then lose that fight, you're going to lose so much off of that. And both of these teams have so much scaling that it's not even worth it, unless you get a clean sweep to then go get the Baron and accentuate that push that you get off of that pick. But it's just so risky. You do not want to give up a team fight at this point in the game with these comps the way that they are. The amount of scaling.
Oh, there's sides. A great hook on to Cosboy, who is going to get away with the Lulu ult. Now Diav is going to get the ult just in time. No, actually goes down to the anyway. Vigar in time. Now Vigar, massive, and trying to back away here. Does dodge out on the charm. Another great hook on the Ahri. SON are turning it back on its head. Ivern with the hooks making it happen.
Woof. So that is going to be Baron going over the side of it. It does look like it's going to start tipping in favor. Hook off.
Nope, he is. All right. Losing Gavin, I believe.
Going to be fantastic. Looking forward to it. Could be big Vigar.
So far, yes, and that will be Baron for SON, as they are going to get their mid lane pushed in, but maybe if they take a little bit too long, Mobility Scooter might get caught out. Vigar is on the top side, blocking off the escape route. Zandef, Mobility Scooter actually going to go on to the Lucian, burning the heal just to make sure nothing crazy happens. Mobility Scooter is taking them on a trip and a half here, as there will be ex-jungle convict getting the first part. There is the hook, the flag and drag. The hook misses. One blast cone. They blast cone him in, get the stun. He is dead, but he wasted a lot of that Baron timer.
Yeah, it was a lot of time, which allowed SON to push up, or sorry, Aegis to push up. So there's no lanes that are really easy to let them kind of take anything off of this Baron. The most that it's going to do is allow them to set the lanes back to the mid state, so that when this dragon that comes up, which is going to be crucial in deciding how the game goes.
Oh my god, look at those hooks there, as we are going to get an engage coming through. No, not just yet. SSJ Ivern sitting behind right now as Zendef puts the cage down, setting up this Infernal Soul for SON Leviathan. They are getting control of the area, trying to clear out and put down as many of the wards that they can. And this Blitzcrank is genuinely scary.
Yeah, it suddenly becomes so difficult, because as soon as SON take control in an area, you have to worry about the Blitzcrank hook, you have to worry about the Vigar cages, you have to worry about so much
the Jarvan.
And just out of nowhere, like you won't even see the hook and you'll just die. So it is just rough, and Jax is going to be there a little bit later here.
Yeah, Cage already down. Charm to stop the Gnar. Gnar does not actually hit the ultimate, and now Casboy actually goes in, gets the Lulu ult. He is very big. He has it. Yeah, Zeri loves these long fights there where she can get it, but they're taking a lot of damage on the back end. Macro Beast waited, bought his time, and he's able to stay, or he's able to keep his team in that fight, but now Casboy is holding onto this dragon. They don't have, no team has, wait, no.
Smite.
Ivern, yeah. SSJ Ivor does have the smite, and I think they have just realized it, and they want to go in. There is the hook onto the Zeri. Not going to kill her just yet, and there she goes. 173 on the dragon. Who's going to get it? It is the Lulu. Jerryman picks it up with the heads up little poke onto the dragon.
Oh my god.
And Aegis stole it out for another second, another couple minutes.
Wow. That is huge. I mean, denying the Infernal Soul on the Vigar is just massive. It is still a rough game to try to claw your way back into. You're down like 4,000 gold, and they're still at soul point. It's just the same thing is going to happen in about 4 minutes. But woof, this game is close, and what a banger.
I mean, look. We wanted to see this game, or we wanted to see this series have some fight in it. SON Leviathan down 0-2 right now. They lose one more, they are going home. And they are ending the season. Aegis looking to win these finals here and lock in their victory with this win. Zendef still just farming up. Level 17 on this Vigar right now.
Yeah, he has 990 AP, by the way.
Reasonable.
Just close to that 1,000 threshold. So, YouTube, here I come.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, entirely. That's how I remember it working, at least.
So yeah, they're setting up for the Death Bush because at this point, what else can you do? You almost never gonna win these team fights because you saw that. That was the perfect fight for Zeri. Everyone clumped up that together, so you have that zap, your ult kind of spreading the bolts between everyone, and your E gives that piercing on your auto attacks, Qs, whatever you want to call them. But just so much AoE damage coming up from the Vigar W. It's impossible to win these straight 5v5 team fights. So you almost have to do these death bushes, wait for something cheesy, do something weird. Because Vigar just picked up another item. It is at 1100 AP. That is a strong Vigar. He is too hurt.
That boy is very scary now. And we are pretty much at the point where a QR will kill any of the squishy members of Aegis.
And Diav. Diav is dying in these fights before he can even ult. Like, it is a depressing time. His whole champion is supposed to just be, I live for a super long time, so my backline can do stuff, and he just gets blinked out of existence like someone snapped in a movie.
It's not a great time for this Kane. He has had a couple of fights that have been great, but as the game's gone longer and longer, he's just been getting exploded quicker and quicker.
Yeah, the engage is so fast, it has so much CC built into it, that you have no time to react as the Kane. You have no time to weave your abilities and get the healing off. You're just dead. And by that point, there's no protection for your backline. So these fights are going to be rough. Although, might be a dead Disciple.
Yeah, Gnar not able to win these fights against the Jackson. Mobility Scooter is doing absurd levels of damage. And I think Aegis have found their win condition for this game.
That's a hull breaker, too, on the Jax. So he has TP. They have an interesting choice here. They can let him keep split pushing, or they can send him top and deal with the 5v4 advantages that he has created for this team. And I almost don't even know which one I would prefer. I mean, it kind of entirely depends on how the team fight's looking, but he is just gonna wail on these towers.
Yeah, it puts the timer on SON. They need to either send somebody back now or go for this fight hard. Diav knows this, and he is going forward. Knock up onto Macrobeast there. St. Alucard dashing forward. They're trying to get onto the Lucian. Macrobeast is going to get hit by the charm, and Kazboy picks up the kill for that one. Actually, St. Alucard TP is now starting to come through for the Vigar, who has shown up. SSJ Ivor not getting the hook on that one, and Kazboy going to be getting out cleansing from the cage. But in the meanwhile, it's Mobility Scooter pushing on the bot side. Gnar can't stop him. He is going to continue to do so, and they are pushing the Baron in order to make SON Leviathan answer.
Yeah, they sent Vigar down to deal with the Jax because he's the only one who can match. But that meant that the team fight was going to start swinging the side of AQ, so he had to rejoin, and it was just a free inhibitor for the Jax. So Diab looking pretty low. They're not going to be able to
Oh,
Yep.
that is flash from Zendef to get the kill on to Div. And now
Didn't even ult.
didn't even ult, didn't have the chance to, and Dragon now on the table. Esso and Leviathan finally looking to lock that soul in the point as they can. Okay, no, that was from the Blitzcrank. God, that made me panic. Holy.
Yeah, it's looking like it's gonna be a win for SON over in this one. That is 1150 AP for the Vygar with Infernal Soul. It's called Hurt. But yeah, I mean, so they're extending the series, and I do wonder if this is gonna start, tipping the momentum back in their favor, because like this is a pretty definitive win. We do have a little bit of a pause. In the chat, someone said bathroom, so
Bathroom. Very glad Adam is on the desk for this one. Do not have to deal with any of his shenanigans right now. But yeah, will be just a quick pause as the Baron is going down. I don't even think there's really going to be a way to contest this. Have started back up. We are getting the pause bug. Riot, please, begging you, fix this one. It's annoying. But I don't see a world in which this Lulu really does much of anything to stop this Baron.
Yeah, I think this one's just about over. It's maybe Mobility Scooter can kind of do something fancy with the split push, because literally no one was able to match him. But that was when there was an objective on the map that the rest of the team could contest. So I'm not super confident in it, but it is entirely possible. Oh, never mind.
Well, Lulu's gone.
Lulu's gone. Found dead in Miami.
Unfortunate.
Rip. So yeah, this one's looking like a pretty much, paint my numbers, end the game really fast because you're so strong. Your muscles are incredibly big. Jax is looking to do something in the holy...
Look. They are doing some damage. Macrobee's getting really low, though, as that is St. Alucard dashing forward, getting the kill. X-Jungle Comic now has a DOV in his body. And now Zendef picking that kill up. TP's starting to come through. That is now the Gnar, who is in Mega form, looking to jump in on St. Alucard. Flash forward, hits the Gnar into the wall. And now Casboy is left alone under the tower. X-Jungle Comic wants to go deeper under this. Casboy, great cleanse, but not going to mean anything as Lulu is here to whittle away at some health. Jax trying to end the game on the bot side here as Ivern is keeping him busy, not letting him do so. As Mobility Scooter, he's going to take up enough tower shots to die. That is SON Leviathan taking their first game of the night.
Yeah, really well played by SON. They brought the series back. It was going to be a 3-0, and they said no. Love that. Love that. No quick 3-0s. But yeah, so again, the theme of this series is just pick a scaling comp with pretty easy execution, and it just does well. It's really easy to play, and you're going to be fine. So I think going forward, I expect to see both teams adapt to this series meta, whatever. I hope anyway.
Yeah, I mean, seems like the teams have locked in what they see and can tell works for them. And SON Leviathan finally punching back in this series and putting up a fight. I am excited to see what happens next with that, but we are going to take a quick break to get ready for the next game, guys. Don't go anywhere. We have a series on our hands, and we'll see if we get that mystical game 5.
And welcome back, everyone, to Zero Gravity Gaming, the analyst desk here, Rare Atom Industrial Sniper, and we're still sort of processing what just happened in game number 3 there. Industrial, Smite, Blitzcrank, support.
I'm laughing so much because at the beginning of the game, he did horribly. He tried to go and invade the jungle, and that went bad. Like, they invaded the jungle, and he wasn't bot lane for a bit. But the second that he went bot lane, he had a level 4 Lucian, and even though he was level 1, the Lucian was already level 4 and got all this solo gold and solo XP for 5 minutes by himself. And because of that, all he had to do was just press Q. And man, could this man press Q! And he had these insane hooks, and from there, the game it was just horrible, because all he would do is he had Predator as well. And he would just press Predator and run at people, and because of this, people would start flashing, he got flashes, people would be zoned away from each other, everyone would just be, he spaced off things for fights, and it was just amazing to watch, because all of us were sitting here watching the game this guy, they think that they're not gonna win, and this is why he's Smite Blitzcrank, but then he secured so much and made the team, he was such a win condition for some reason. And it was just insane to watch this slow, descent into madness and then rise to greatness, if you will. And it was just amazing.
And just really difficult to understand how much actual impact they had. But in the end, it worked out really well. And Sniper, we have the replay from one of the last Dragon fights there. It sort of just sums up this game as a whole. It's not only the Smite Blitzcrank, though. There's also this huge Veigar you've got to take into account.
Yeah. I mean, we were focusing on the Smite Blitzcrank for obvious reasons, but at this point, Veigar is 7-0, I think, in this replay. This man is strong. He's got a full death cap, and that W hits for half of people's HP. So this fight just starts off absolute chaos. Everybody on blue team is low already. Zeri is very, very low, but she's got a Lucian healing her. And this is soul for this dragon is soul for the blue team. And so they have to fight this. You see Blitzcrank hooks Zeri into the Veigar cage. Zeri then just gets blown up by the Lucian, or by the Veigar. So even though she manages to kill the Blitzcrank, who, by the way, has an hourglass if he wasn't annoying enough already, the Veigar kills Zeri. Lulu somehow manages to get the Drake and all of the chaos that's going on there, and then dies to Veigar. But at this point, Veigar is 9-0, and they just went straight to Baron, and nothing could play against that Veigar at that point. We even saw it later. Zeri had a QSS, but it literally just didn't matter. Veigar's QW was enough to kill people, even without the ult. And then if you somehow managed to avoid the W, the ult hit you and killed you from 60% HP. It was just insane. I still don't know how they got away with that. It's just so chaotic, and I love it so much.
Yeah, I think that it's... I don't really know what it means in the entire scope of things, because it's something that's sort of unknown and unseen in a lot of ways. Industrial, do you think this game gives enough momentum back to Sun Leviathan to get themselves back in the series, or is Aegis Gaming just going to say, you know what, we made some mistakes? I mean, DOV may have said something about not playing Kane again in Twitch chat. Is it enough for Aegis, for Sun Leviathan to get themselves back in the series?
Sure. A little, I don't know what to anticipate next. Do we have a series on our hands?
I mean, we technically have a series on our hands, yes,
yeah.
But regardless of much I hate saying that, we do have a series on our hands.
It's just I'm excited to see what happens next, to say the least.
We'll find out what happens in game 4 here, but of course, casters and teams are ready. So take it away, 1000 Dies and Gavin.
And welcome back, everybody. We made it to game 4 of the day. We are already in the picks and bans, as you can see. Nothing out of the ordinary to be seen so far, but Aegis have elected to take the blue side again, as SON finally figured out, hey, blue side kind of good.
It does slap. pretty good. I believe 100% win rate in this series so far.
So far, yes.
Cool. Yeah, so ban, I don't know, Vigar, maybe? Seems pretty good. Champion's nuts.
Yeah, Vigar is in a pretty solid spot, but that is not going to be what we see so far, at least. Aegis taking out the Shen, Swain, and Wukong, and SON taking out the Kale, Zaya, and the Viego. Vigar looking to be the first pick for Aegis this time around.
Makes sense. I mean, yeah, take
Can't
the blue
beat it,
side,
join it.
take the strongest pick on blue side. That's the strat. And I mean, you're at series point, so it's not like you're going to worry about trading the next game. Like, you win here, it's over. So I do like snagging blue side, snagging the Vigar. It's just stupid strong. Just pick it. Agar picked up pretty good, very good top laner, really good at team fighting. So yeah, interesting draft so far. You thinking anything spicy this round?
Look, after last game, I don't think we can overcome the level of spice that we got, but we'll see. Aatrox locked in for the top side. And Volibear being picked up here. Interesting that they take both at the same time, considering that you can lock that Volibear in and have that as a kind of flex pick, even if it is mostly a jungle.
So yeah, I think their plan is to kind of win mid and bot lane, mostly. So I kind of like it. Saving your last pick for one of those solo lanes seems kind of smart. Solo lanes, carry lanes. Trundle coming out, that makes sense. That's two big beefcakes on the side of SON, so being able to shred them down, very good. Yeah.
Nothing too out of the ordinary that we would expect from this draft so far. The early Trundle being taken, and you know, we say early, but like you said, with good reason here. And the Caitlyn being locked in, this was banned away in the second half of the ban phase last time around. So rather than prioritizing that Lulu, that didn't seem to really get them too much. This time they're getting the Caitlyn before it gets taken away from them.
And I do like the Caitlyn as your final pick in the first round, because it then forces SON to potentially ban out the Lux, because it's such a strong combination that you almost have to ban it out unless you have a really good counter to it, but I don't think there is one. Jin's good at long range, so maybe they have just another enchanter that bot lane and avoid that hellscape that is Caitlyn Lux. But yeah, so that's the smart pick, because you pretty much know who the support's going to be, so you're telling them like, hey, ban it or we're picking it. And that's just strong ability to like knock out a ban and leave something strong, or your Nobility Scooter, who showed pretty good jacks in the last two games. So maybe there's some other carries he's looking at getting.
Possibly, but I do like that they're taking it away, because it was a huge problem. Even when they got to the point where they were winning the game, Jax was trying to do the same thing on the opposite side of the map, and they still didn't really have a solid answer. It was just the fact that they beat the other team down, or the rest of that team down on the other side of the map hard enough that they were able to finish that game. So I like the Jax ban here, the Kassadin being taken away, the Tom Kench being taken away, and making sure that this Aatrox has a lane that is favorable for him.
Mm-hmm. And I do like the into Vigar, I do like the Volibear, because your ult does make you unstoppable, so you can just ult through his cage and it won't matter. I also like the Jhin into it as well, because he has that long range engage. Don't have to worry about getting stunned by the Vigar, because you can just W from across the map or ult and cover a wide range. So that's a good counter pick to that strategy. I'm interested to see who the support pick on the side of Aegis is going to be. I assume the Lux, but maybe something more engage oriented. They don't really have a tank other than Trundle, who doesn't have as much tankiness as you'd hope going into someone like a Jhin, who can get rolling pretty hard.
The Karthus.
Okay, it's probably
Okay.
Karthus mid.
Yes.
And I do like that, because like Vigar is not killing you. Like, it's just not. So,
okay, you say that, but you get caught in a cage and you're just done.
I mean, yeah, but you have such range with your Qs. Being able to farm distance safe is important, and like, there's not a ton of gank pressure from the Trundle. Like the Pillar, yeah, but Basically, he can farm from safe enough that he shouldn't have to worry about it too much. It is another... So it's either Trundle top, or Trundle support, or Amumu support, or Amumu jungle, or Vygar support. You never know.
I think both teams have kind of lost mental at this point. I think things have gotten a little bit crazy on both ends. Aegis going to take the Seraphine, so that is definitely a support Seraphine, as we would expect. And then it is really just, I would assume, top Trundle with the jungle of Amumu. Now the Karth is here. We're still kind of waiting on the confirmation on what that is going to be, and I don't think we're going to know until we get into the game of where that is going, because my thought here is you could also put the Volibear mid and have it go up again. I give up.
So...
I give up. All right. Goodbye, everybody. It's been great. I will see you guys another time.
Is it Karthus support? Mordekaiser mid? Or it's probably Volibear support?
They don't. What they're doing? They're not playing League of Legends anymore. They're just not playing League of Legends. They are playing a single player game at this point.
Well. So my called shot is volley support or jungle? I don't know.
I'm gonna call for the weirdness and say it is gonna be the Mordekaiser support.
No, volley support, Karthus jungle, Mordekaiser mid. That's my shot.
I'm gonna shoot my shot and say that it is gonna be the Mordekaiser purely because of the hook, the grab from the Mordekaiser. It seems to be what I would expect here.
So either way, I just thought of something. Have we had, because this is the fourth game in the series, have we had 8 different supports? Like nobody's played the same 2 supports in any of the games?
Let me double check on that for you. I believe that is the case.
Because that's really weird, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It is different. It is 8 different supports. That is correct.
That's so weird. I don't know. I'm not a fan. I do, like, some of these supports were really good, and then you just don't play them again. And it's a little weird. So it's Aatrox mid.
It is Karthus support.
Karthus support. Okay. I mean, they could always still swap, like, before, what is
They
it, like 20,
can.
30 seconds? But, like...
But, like...
Oh my god. Ugh. I don't know. Whatever. Video games are stupid.
There is no analysis to be had at this point.
They're playing a video game in which there are 7 champions.
I am so lost at this point.
Yeah.
I want to stay here until we are confirmed on who is playing what here. I will say, given what kind of composition SO and Leviathan have put together, the Jhin is probably the best pick that they could go for from an AD carry standpoint. They have locked in... Okay, no, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I refuse to buy it. It is absolutely going to be the Jhin in the AD carry position. I do not want to believe anything other than that. I believe it is the 22nd point that they need to be fully locked in. So we will make sure that those are all fully put in place before we make any assumptions. Let's talk about Aegis' composition, since they have some semblance of what reality is.
Yeah, okay. So they have straightforward engage with the Amumu. They have Trundle to team fight by shredding whoever tank. Whatever tank happens to exist, I guess, on the side of SON. So they have some solid team fight. Caitlyn Seraphine is basically just a rebranded Caitlyn Lux. I don't like the Seraphine, to be honest. Again, they keep swapping supports, and none of them, like, Vygar's Vygar. They're gonna scale fine as long as they get to the end game, but it's a lot of beefcake on the side of SON. So yeah,
Yep.
Karthus support. That's what it's looking like.
Karthus support it is at the end of the day. And I think look, I've never had alcohol in my life, but I'm strongly considering it at this point. So we're going to take a quick break while I very quickly reevaluate
While we go get sloshed.
Yeah, while I reevaluate my own mental stability, and we will be back after this quick break. And welcome back, everybody. We are live into Game 4 as SON are just going to keep the line as best they can. 1 stack to the Vigar already.
That's game over.
Yeah.
That's unwinnable at this point. What do you even do in the face of that insurmountable evil? Oh, that's 2 stacks? Are you joking?
2 stacks.
You tell joke?
You would think that SON would understand that you can't just give these things to the Vigar.
Yeah, well, you would think that they wouldn't pick fucking Karthus support. But here we are. That's my 1 for the season. Sorry.
Yep.
It really just slipped out, honestly.
At this point, I don't think I want to think anymore. I'm good. There are things happening on the screen. You guys can figure it out. It's cool.
Yeah, I do want to point out it is double Dark Harvest in the bot lane for Jhin and Karthus. I actually, like, if you're gonna play Jhin Karthus in a best of 5 series where you're 1 game away from losing the whole thing.
This is Ivern doing Ivern things again. He is over the wall looking for the possibility to steal. Div is aware of this and making sure that can't happen, so.
Yeah, I mean, so they're gonna scale well with the Karthus is the thing, right? You know? And what is a big Karthus W if not a worse version of Vigar W? So like if you lose the Vigar in the draft, just take your discount Vigar in the support and call it a win.
Yeah. I mean, here was my thought, honestly. I was expecting first strike on the Karthus, and he was just gonna push R on cooldown and collect gold so that he was like about as relevant as you'd expect from something like a jungle Karthus.
No, we go for kills.
But it also gives a damage boost.
Yeah, but it doesn't execute is the thing. Dark Harvest.
Dark Harvest doesn't execute either. It just does.
It does damage when they're low.
Yes. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's a missed opportunity. Regardless, Root is gonna hit. Jerryman's gonna go low. They do not have the ignite for the kill, so Jerryman does get to flash out safely. But a good start from SON, but a lot of mana burned in order to get that.
Yeah, I do respect Macrobeast because he had Cleanse Flask and Fourth Shot. Like, absolutely could have just tapped Seraphine to death there. But saved it. Still has everything for this.
Tank on the bot side there. They get the stun onto Kazboy, who is actually going to trade back there. First blood onto the Karthus. Or Jhin, rather. Jhin did get the first blood, and then Caitlyn does trade back. So, while it's not ideal, considering the circumstances, it did work out pretty decently for Kazboy.
So, we're saying about Ivern, not ideal, but it worked out. And I'm sensing a pattern here.
Oh no, top lane is also not going well. That will be Disciple losing out on the early fight. Mobility Scooter, once again, on a very strong split push dueling type of top laner here. The Trundle, very quickly going to be a frustrating thing to deal with here, as they may be looking to go for a dive on St. Alucard if they get the opportunity. This Jay Ivern trying to get some poke down so that ex-jungle convict can go over the wall for the stun.
As usual, just being a menace. That's kind of his whole ethos, is just, I'm gonna be annoying.
Yeah, well.
And that's what I look for in a good support, by the way. Just be a nuisance.
Is this why we don't play together?
Yes.
I see. Well, Ivern definitely doing his job so far, as he is keeping pressure on that Seraphine, and Zendef also doing a pretty solid job against this Vigar early on.
Yeah, I didn't expect Aatrox to have pressure into the Vigar, but it's going pretty well. Is up a pretty decent chunk of farm too, so do expect this to keep going in his favor.
Yeah, a nice little grab there from the Mordekaiser. He is currently not winning in that one, though. Oh, Zendef is getting pretty low. The healing, though, Div is going to go down. Zendef actually stays alive. And now Alucard also going to die. That was an execute. But Zendef turns around a 2v1.
Oof. The Aatrox mid lane, let's go. That was certainly a play that you could make with that champion. Was a little bit low, a lot of time. Yeah, it's a shame about the execute, but honestly, it's fine as long as he dies and you can finish the wave. It's totally fine. Just continuing to build out that gold lead and an experience lead is just a little rough. Continuing to put this Vigar behind. Oh my.
Yeah, Casboy taking a lot of damage. The burst out of this bot lane seems to be a threat that Aegis are not familiar with, but Ivern also very, very low. Casboy taking some damage. Should be okay for now.
Yeah, so the Karthus is doing damage definitely, but he's also taking a lot of damage in return, which isn't great because he doesn't have any sustain like Seraphine does. Also doesn't have any way to shield Jhin from damage himself, so it should start going in the favor of Caitlyn Seraphine, I think. Although this is a dead Yordle.
And dead Yordle coming in. Maybe. No, we'll go down. Zendef picks that one up. But hey, St. Alucard buys the time, gets the Hextech Dragon for his team. That is the kind of teamwork that you look for in a mid laner.
Yeah, by just killing everyone himself. That's what I love when I'm playing jungle, is just if my mid laner kills everyone and then I show up and be like, yeah, we did it.
Look, whatever makes you happy, Gavin.
Yeah.
I can't push away that. Div gonna show up just to clear out a little bit of that mid lane wave. And bot lane gonna keep pressure on SSJ Ivern. Still just running circles around. That is a nice little route, but SSJ Ivern gonna flash in, and now Casboy needs to dodge out. Will not be able. Trips over Skittle, falls over and dies. Casboy goes down to the Karthus.
That is certainly a way that you can play I suppose. And like, it looks dumb, but honestly, it's probably worth it because you force the Caitlyn back to base, and even though you trade the kill, so it's like gold even, they're losing farm, they're losing experience, so Jhin continues to get this advantage while all the experience goes on to Seraphine, which is kind of meh. So I don't hate it. It's very funny looking, and it's like, you could probably call it an int or a grief or whatever, but like honestly, probably fine.
Ooh. Shadow Realm doesn't even seem to make a difference up in the top lane. Disciple's still losing out on those. Zendef now getting into a fight with that Vigar. Diva showed up to the top side, and Disciple now getting into a fight with the Amumu. Gonna push him away. Another bandage tosses should be all that he needs. Macro Beast now. What a nice, clean play on that bot side. Flash net with the Q and the headshot. Great job by Casboy.
Yeah, so going back to the top lane, it is a rough matchup for the Mordekaiser because he will steal the ults from the stats from Trundle, and then Trundle will just steal them right back. So give me those are mine. But yeah, so it's a little rough. Trundle does actually want to just sit and wail on you with that W active, so you kind of have to time your ult after he's already used his W, otherwise he will just wow.
God. There you go. That is the weakness of Karthus support, everybody.
Yeah, nobody knew there was a weakness, but we found it.
I mean, hey, it'd been working real well so far.
Hold on. Pause the game. Caitlyn's at 420 and 69 farm. Pause it. We won. We beat League of Legends. We did it. Game over.
I'm never gonna get an actual cast when I have to cast with Gavin. People are gonna look at my VODs and hear that, and I'm just gonna get passed over every single goddamn time.
We did it!
It doesn't help that I'm also casting Karthus support, probably. But SSJ Ivern gonna do his best to make it look good. And we'll get some damage down. Gathering Storm proc on Casboys. We hit the 10-minute mark. Rift Herald picked up on the top side for SON Leviathan. And maybe they'll be able to get some nice gold chunkage out of that.
Very nice. Did you get it? It was a weed joke.
I certainly did, Gavin.
Thank you. Oh, wait. Sorry. I'm done with the fun.
I am so so just done with it today. Jerryman and Casboy getting the curtains opened up on them. Here's a Karth Assault as well. So much long range damage, and now the close range damage is starting to come in. Cage is going to buy a little bit of time for St. Alucard. They're diving out of the tower, but it has been turned off, so Jungle Compact takes no damage. The Ignite Div is going to barely, no, he will go down. Zendef picks up a double kill in the mid lane, and they get the tower at the same time. SON Leviathan have suddenly
charge. They might get 2 towers off of this.
Yeah, this is a rocket ahead from SON Leviathan.
That is a fed Aatrox mid. Oh my god. Okay, he said, alright, Vygar pick? Nah. Let me get this. One sword boy.
I played Vygar. I know how to play against Vygar.
You just kill him, forehead.
I mean, hey, usually diving a Vygar seems like a really, really bad idea, but with the Volibear, they make it work.
Yeah, a Volibear that can turn the tower off and a Herald that just smashes it to pieces is a pretty decent dive option, I would say. But it does put them at just over 3k gold lead. Just under 3k gold lead, sorry. And then, I mean, just, like, Trundle's winning the top lane, but that's never a lane that's going to, like, snowball so hard that Trundle just takes over the game, right? So, you have this Aatrox who's going to be so good in team fights, and the Karthus and Jhin long-range engage to go with that is just going to be so menacing. I don't know how... Alright.
Okay, so that is the Karthus going down, but he is going to trade there, as that is the Vygar dying as well. Casboy going to back away, but low health, as the dragon is going to be started up here. Dia also fighting this Aatrox, as there is the flash over. Jungle Compact, I don't know if he wanted to do that one, went a little bit too deep, but it is once again another trade, as it is the Caitlyn that goes down in the process. Dia also backing away, but without their smite, they cannot do this dragon anymore.
Yep, I mean, SON should be able to, because honestly, Jhin fourth shot is better than smite. If you can time it right, that execute damage is bonkers. Uh-oh. Okay, it's fine.
Macrobeast is low, though, and they don't really have a great way to try and force this fight, although it did pull Mobility Scooter over for the possibility of a dragon fight, so that they could get him there, since teleports are not going to be available on anything but towers for the next minute.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone's going to be too gunning for the dragon, because again, it's still pretty early. No one team is looking to stack them all quite yet. I mean, he just might kill both of them.
Yeah, I don't think it's a fight that they can win there. They don't have the damage to do so. Burst damage does not do well against the Aatrox, and Zendef is now 5-0 on the Aatrox, as the jungler does go down, and maybe this is the opportunity for that dragon that they wanted.
Oh no!
He's dead. He's dead.
Oh,
Karthus
no!
picks it up, and now that is Jerryman also going down. Zendef, he is...
Oh my god.
Oh, he goes down. Shut down going to Casboy, but that is still SON keeping pressure on the exact thing that we have seen them succeed with in this series.
Yeah, it kind of feels like in this series, whoever gets ahead, none of these games are snowballs by any means, but like whoever gets ahead tends to stay ahead. And it's because they inject a lot of scaling into these comps, which they need to, but like this Aatrox is nuts. He straight up 2v1'd the mid and the jungler, and that is just not okay.
Yeah, Casboy, once again, showing a lot of mechanical skill on this Caitlyn, following up the flash there, getting the kill on Ivern, and not even taking really any damage in response, just punishing the misposition and using all of those items and summoners to the best of their ability.
I do want to point out, so Ivern on this Karthus support, A, has more deaths than everyone else on his team combined.
Mm-hmm.
But B, has his mythic item, which means he has more gold than the enemy mid laner. So, it's going okay. It's very interesting.
I mean, having 8 KP
Yeah.
will do that for you.
Yeah. Oh, that's a dead Yordle again.
Yep. Cage will... Nope. Cage will keep him safe for now. Is Jerryman gonna pop around once again? It's just like... It's very methodical how much SON are keeping pressure on. They're just slowly pushing in now. Ivern might be in a bad spot, though. Cage is going to catch him out. He does not have a good way out of this one. He will just get the Vygar ult thrown onto him. And that is going to be Curtain Call as well, but not going to be anything huge gotten out of it, as they just do get away with a literal murder.
So I do have a question. At what point do you think it's okay to flame a Aegis for not having any grievous wounds into a fed Aatrox?
About 6 minutes ago.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to double check.
And I'm not saying they should all have it, but
no, yeah, I mean Vigard
somebody
should. It's 800 gold. Just you know. But yeah, that's a big Aatrox with a lot of healing. You should probably invest the 800 gold to make sure he can't just jump up back to full health as soon as he gets a kill.
Yeah, quite possibly. Top side, SON are going to take the Rift Herald here. And we saw what happened last time they got a Rift Herald. Had a really nice charge. And they're looking to get some of the same on this top side, most likely.
Yeah, so they're probably going to try to take a top lane. Zendef should be able to take this bot lane tower himself, or at least pressure it hard enough that they need to send one more person, and then you can just drop the Herald wherever they aren't. But yeah, so they could also opt for a team fight soon. I believe Herald should be up long enough that by the time the next dragon fight starts to set up, they can drop it mid, and that's a free tower. And that just opens you up for so much invading and possibilities of just catching them out, being able to put up vision that deep into the enemy jungle. That I do expect them to kind of save this Herald for mid lane. Even though I think top lane would probably be the best, but taking a tier 2 mid tower this early into the game is just pretty good. Oh no.
Yeah, St. Alucard, he does get an idea of where the Aatrox is. Dragon spawning in about a minute. Neither of these teams are anywhere near a soul, so not going to be a majorly important one. Aatrox going to pop the World Ender, looking to go in, but does get hit by the cage now, has to flash away. Curtain Call also to give him a little bit of backup, as Mobility Scooter tries to ignore the Mordekaiser. Can't do that just yet. Another cage hit there. Zendef has the tenacity to back away, and St. Alucard taking still a lot of damage in response. Casboy might have gotten a little bit too far forward, as he will get back away and cannot follow up to SSJ Ivern once again going down, and no ulti to be had, so no kills to be coming through here.
This is so I don't want to undersell how strong the Aatrox is, but also the team fight and pick potential out of Aegis is going to make this very difficult. Zendef has plenty of MR that he shouldn't be popped down. Like, you saw him, he got caught by that cage twice and still lived. And he burned the flash, but that's it. But everyone else on the team cannot walk forward at all. There's Caitlyn traps. There are Vigor cages. There's Amumu wraps. There are Seraphine ults. There's so much keep away.
Ex-Jungle Convict gonna flash forward, does not get the dragon, and that will be a great charm and great Curse of the Sad Mummy, and now the turnaround is starting to come through. That is the Aatrox going down. A Caitlyn picks up that one. Casboy flashing forward to get the kill onto the Karthus, and will just healy away, stays alive. Not going to die to that one. That is a 4 for none, and they get the dragon too.
Yep, that's a strong Aatrox, but nothing really to go with it. They just, again, there's so much team fight potential in this comp that they've built that Aegis is able to just kind of roll over everyone on the side of SON. And this top lane is just kind of a draw. It really doesn't matter who wins these scraps. It just doesn't matter. The rest of the game is a 4v4. This is a wet noodle fight.
You say that, but it does seem like the Mordekaiser is struggling a little bit.
Oh yeah, he'll lose the tower, but like they're already losing, so.
Well, that makes it worse.
It does make
that makes
it worse,
the
I guess.
losing worse.
But my point is that like Trundle is never going to group, which means Mordekaiser always has to match him. Period. So it's just for all of these team fights, it's a 4v4. Just ignore top lane.
True. Won't disagree with that. And it will continue to be that way for the foreseeable future. Alucard gonna take this blue buff now, and Baron not gonna be really on anybody's minds for a little while yet. We do see mythics starting to come through. I don't think anything really out of the ordinary there. But now Ivern maybe getting caught out. There's the slow. There's the cage. They're not letting him go. That is Primordial Burst. Goodbye. That is another couple of 100 gold going over to the Vigar.
So it's interesting. I actually think at this point in the game, it's almost worth it to not burn any major spells on the Karthus, because he's dying so much that, like, if you jump him, you kill him, and then the rest of the team sees that you're vulnerable enough and out without your cooldowns that Karthus can just press R, still be useful in the team fight, and boom, there you go. That there is the danger of them burning everything on Karthus and the rest of the team just rolling over the rest of Aegis. Oh, that's pretty quick.
Yeah, quick pause. I mean,
Nailed it.
Well,
Pause 2.
Yeah, that everyone has been asking for League of Legends too. So what Riot did was implement a second pause to give you at least some form of a sequel that we've all been waiting for. And as you can see, it has been met with nothing because it is a pause and you can't move.
That's peak gameplay.
Overall, though, yeah, we are back in it, and overall, it is still kind of a close game, but man, just seeing a team with an Amumu and a Vigar and a Caitlyn that is currently ahead.
Yeah.
Gary, I'm getting flashbacks to game 1 here.
Yup. And no, he's fine. He's just gonna waddle away. Everything's fine. But yeah, I think it's definitely a waste to send people top lane. That lane is just pretend it doesn't exist for all intents and purposes.
That is Zendef getting into a real spicy situation, but Alucard, he trades as the shutdown comes through. Unfortunately, Kazboy not getting the heal onto the right person, but now the fight is continuing to happen. Ex-Jungle Convict looking to go in, will not get the Turbo Chem Tank onto anybody for the slow, and it is just a disengage at the end of it all.
Yep. Vigar, both mid laners trade there, which, you know, is kind of in the favor of AQ. It's fine. There's no objectives on the map for anyone to capitalize off of. We're just kind of in a stalemate for the moment. There's nothing really on the map that are calling. Like, there's no point in the next, like, 5-10 minutes where anything's gonna shift too hard in one direction. So I think this is just gonna be the time in which I take a nap.
I was about to do the same thing. So you guys kick back, enjoy the visuals. We will bring you guys back in when we know that it is about to be a fight start. No, I'm just kidding. We are gonna continue on. Dragon gonna be spawning in about 30 seconds here, but as we have noted, it is not soul point for anybody. This poor Karthus.
I mean, he very nearly killed Seraphine there.
Oh! He very nearly died himself, as he will die. And now will be the flash away on the top side. Once again, Disciple not able to keep this Trundle in check, and Seraphine will just get to back and do her thing.
Yeah. 10 deaths on is ID. TBH on it. At this point in the game, still has as many deaths as the rest of the team combined. Yikes.
He's keeping pace, you know. You gotta respect the consistency. There is a nice cage there. The cleanse was too early, and they kill the Jhin, they kill the Volibear. It is Zendef against the world, and the world has already ended. He is backing away. Look at the top lane, though. Mobility Scooter, he's taking the tower, but he's ignoring the Mordekaiser in the process. That is a Soul Point Dragon now picked up for Aegis Gaming, and they are going to keep pushing forward in the mid lane with all the death timers going. They may be looking for a Barret even.
That was such a tragic early cleanse for Macro Beast. Like, I think they were still probably dead, but man, that's what feels bad. You'll never know. And the pressure that this Trundle is able to put in the top lane is so nuts. He's gonna start cracking down on the inhibitor soon, and there's just nothing Disciple can do about it.
Whoa. I'm not sure about that one.
He got
Did
it.
not. Oh my god.
Got
Yeah.
it. Wow.
Okay. So at the end of it, Div does get the Baron. Karthus wasted his ultimate. That one's a little bit of a question mark ping there for me.
Feels bad.
Feels
For
deserved.
him, not for me.
It feels deserved. I'm gonna be real. You don't just walk up and push R on Karthus. That's not a thing you do.
Changed name to Icarus. Flew too close to the sun.
He flew too close to the ceiling fan.
Okay. Oh no.
Oh, wait, hold on. This is actually a pretty good fight there. Flash from the Caitlyn. Curtain Call will be used as there's the Curse of the Sad Mummy just trying to buy time. Cage will also provide a little bit of protection. The flash forward, and Kazboy gets the kill on the Volibear, but I think there was a lot to do with Vigar. There is the Cage once again, another bandage toss, and Ivern is just in the middle of everybody trying to do damage, but he cannot do it. Wait, nope, that is the Vigar being picked up, and there Macro Beast putting on his blue suede shoes, but cannot dance away enough to stay alive.
Yeah, this is a game. I think this one's pretty much done. I don't see how you lose the 4v4 and the top lane matchup this hard and come back from it, to be honest. I think they're going to get both inhibitors off of this, and I mean, if they can get a pick, honestly, it might just be the game.
It's really upsetting too, because they had the Aatrox that was working so well. The Aatrox was 6-0, and he was completely obliterating anybody. Even when you sent 2 people, he just beat them up in the mid lane. And he just has fallen off so incredibly hard. They have not had a good full team fight for a long time, and this top lane just has not had any opportunity to go SON's way, because now they are just watching their jungle get taken, maybe having a say about it. Ex-jungle convict gonna fly in there. Now will be just bandage tossing in Curse of the Sad Mummy, but he's just gonna get pulled back. Div is very dead. 600 gold going to the Aatrox once again, but we haven't seen him do anything with that gold for a good long while.
Yeah, I don't even know if I agree that Aatrox is like falling off. It's just that the Aegis' team comp is so comically built around just peeling for Kate and Vigar. They have so much peel themselves, and you have the Amumu just ulting perfectly. So often we'll see an Amumu kind of try to dive into the backline and then ult, but he's saving his ults every single time to protect his backline, and it's working so well for them to just buy time, make space, put down traps, put down cages. It just creates so much space for them to work. Holy no!
Oh, that's so rude. The Karthus ult will come through. Requiem, actually, hold on, wait. Zendev is going to actually get a kill on that one. Will go down at the end of it. Now St. Alucard getting hit by the Mordekaiser going to this Shadow Realm, but he is just putting Mordekaiser in his own cage. Stun comes through, and Nailed Sonya's out. Doesn't even really get the passive off to any meaningful degree. And that is an ace for Aegis Quantum, as they're going to push in and take this inhibitor and maybe try and look to end this series.
Yeah, I think that's it. You can't come back from that. You cannot come back from an 1100 damage crit Caitlyn ult, killing, just auto-attacking you. Wow. Yeah, I mean, yeah, well played by Aegis. Again, they came into this series with a game plan. They knew exactly what they wanted. These drafts were so good at doing a specific thing and doing it really well, and they built so much scaling into these time after time. Just really well played. Even in the game that they lost, they were still fine. It was, yeah, just oh, I'm gone again. I'm into the void. Can you hear me? I'm in space. Help me.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, while Gavin figures that out, I do just congratulations to Aegis for winning that one and looking solid doing so. And I really, like you said, having that game plan there. And I, for one, am extremely proud to say that they are our champions for the Platinum League for this split. Congratulations to you guys. And I think with that, I'm Thousand, that's Gavin. We're going to pass it off to the desk for them to have some words about this before we go away.
And welcome back to the desk here. Wow, what a series that just came out here. It's rare. I'm alongside Industrial and Sniper once again, and I don't really know how to sum up that game 4. Karthus support, Trundle just gamed, and yeah, it ends up being Aegis Quantum with the 3-1 series victory once again. Honestly, just some of your thoughts on the series as a whole, Industrial.
This was a very interesting series to watch, to say the least. It was great to watch the support on Leviathan's side just progress throughout the series. Karthus support was personally my favorite. I think he did the best on Karthus support. Like, he may have died a lot, but the thing is, with a champion like Karthus, you're also meant to die, because then you can just sit there and do damage. Like, if he dies in the middle of Dragon Pit, he has a chance of stealing Dragon, because he just did in the middle of it with his W surrounding him. And I thought that was his best, and it was just a really great series to watch overall. Congratulations to Aegis, by the way, for winning the series and that kind of stuff. Fantastic job on your guys' part. That was a great thing. Like, great series to watch.
And meanwhile, Sniper, we have to take a look at some of these plays at the end of the day. I mean, SO and Leviathan, I want to give them credit where credit's due, but at the same time, they just didn't seem like the SO and Leviathan that we were sort of used to seeing throughout the season. And I think this replay that we've got sort of just exemplifies that as a whole.
Yeah, there were a couple of like easier level mistakes. Like this one, for example, Jin pops his cleanse a fraction of a second before he gets hit by the Vagar cage. It's just awkward. And then also, like, yeah, we mentioned Trundle just doing Trundle thing. Like, this man did not care about the fact that there was a Mordekaiser there. He just stood there and hit the tower. And then, so yeah, as we go through this replay, there'll be a little bit more coming up. But yeah, the Karthus was interesting. The fact that he had a Dark Seal while playing Karthus seemed a little bit troll on my end.
I mean, it was pretty fantastic.
That was a thing. And then we have here, he starts channeling Ultimate after he gets hit by a Caitlyn E.
That was not Karthus gaming.
It's like as much as I want to give Leviathan credit for like putting up a decent showing, like there were their high moments. We mentioned it in the last game. They had a couple of very high moments.
Blitzcrank with Smite.
The Blitzcrank Smite. While the three of us were going, what the heck is going on here? Legitimately worked. This game,
I thought it was going to work, I'll be honest.
he didn't have the smite. That's the secret. He did not have smite. That's the reason they lost. Yeah. No, but there were a couple of things in there where it was just like, on the whole, it was decent League of Legends, but then there were a couple of just basic mistakes that were made that were just kind of like, you've just thrown your chance away for maybe getting something out of the Baron, because Karthus channels his ultimate there, loses the cooldown on his ultimate, and dies. And so he can't actually do anything for the Baron fight that continues right after it. Mord flashes into the pit, can't outsmite Namumu because he doesn't have smite. And yeah, it was just awkward. Honestly, that's the best word I can come up with to describe half of that.
Yeah, and I think that overall, the biggest takeaway though is that Aegis Quantum, they really showed what they're all about. They really showed us a very complete team in a lot of ways. It wasn't just one person carrying the whole show. St. Alucard had some troubles in the beginning of Game 4 on the Vagar there, was able to pick it up as time went on, but it doesn't mean that Aegis Quantum do move on to Amateur Worlds and Industrial. I want to ask you, this, winning not only comes with that sheen, but they're going into it looking like a very strong team. What do you think Aegis Quantum need to work on, if anything, before they move on to Amateur Worlds here?
mean, if anything, just keep strengthening like team communication. And I guess like the one thing that I'll always value is like make sure you always play someone you're comfortable with and that kind of stuff. Like just keep working on what you're comfortable with and you'll keep mastering and like getting better at everything at the end of the day. And I think they'll be great from there.
Yeah. Sniper?
Yeah, it's a similar vein for me. The one thing I would say is definitely look into trying to get like scrim practice against team comps or teams that just play really, really aggro. Because that's the one issue that we saw with them in game 4. Like once the Blitzcrank came out and actually had a team that it could like play around, so discounting the level 1 invade that didn't work out at all. Like once the Blitzcrank actually just started going for hooking people, they just seemed scared to walk up to anything. So just kind of figuring out how to deal with that sort of stuff is the only thing I'd say that they need to work on. But that was overall a very, very clean series from Aegis.
Yeah, honestly, congratulations to them, of course, once again for taking the Zero Gravity Gaming Platinum title here. Of course, a couple of housekeeping announcements to make light of here before we wrap things up today. There is going to be another stream on Thursday. There's going to be 2 streams for you for the Gold League. I believe it is winners finals and lower bracket finals or something like that. Regardless, that is happening on Thursday as well. Grand finals will be 2 weeks from Thursday for the Gold League, and IBS semifinals are going to be on Sunday before finals next Sunday. So that's everything around the rest of Zero Gravity Gaming. But for myself, Industrial Sniper, as well as our casters, Thousand Eyes and Gavino, as well as our amazing producer in the back, MXL Brennan. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us for this final stream. We hope to see you here for our other streams over the course of the next couple of weeks. But once again, congratulations to Aegis Quantum. Good night, everyone.